I feel like every now and then a series comes along that takes ideas from things that you've seen numerous times before and manages to make them feel new again. That series is My Hero Academia.
Unlike nothing I've ever read before.
How Kohei Horikoshi pulled together a masterpiece like this is the question that we are all trying to ask.
The reason why I would actually recommend Boku no Hero for any Naruto fan. This picture gave me the feels, like so many feels.
You learn from the past, and I do believe as more shonens come out, the newer shows will be better.
Full Cowl is one of my favorite power-ups in all of shonen anime.
So, I wrote a review about the My Hero Academia movie. I stated the truth, it's just another filler movie with nothing to care about besides screaming every time Deku and All Might are punching someone. I posted it on the anime subreddit and the Hero Tards subreddit to see how they will react. The ones in the anime subreddit were reasonable about it, especially this one who mentions everything silly about such films. They are stupid shit with no impact on the canon material, which is why nobody mentions them in the series and why whatever power-ups they get in the movie are taken away by the end of it. The Hero Tards subreddit, on the other hand, oh boy, they went apeshit, like the subhumans with a gay foot fetish they all are. My review is wrong is what they state in every comment. The movie is canon because Horikoshi sensei said so in an interview. That's all the evidence you need. The mangaka said it in an interview, thus it's true. Exactly what he did when he explained the 1 million power-up not really being 1 million. Why the fuck do you bother to write a proper story when you can excuse it however the hell you want to outside of the show? But wait, there is an in-series reference to the movie. It's that filler episode they slapped in the most inappropriate moment in the middle of the rescue arc. See, it's not filler, you idiot. It's canon because it was excused. With filler. Hero Tards, you are a joke. And you have a gay foot fetish. And I like how you call my review wrong, when every other review out there is just 20 words of nothing but fanboying with a 10-10 slapped on it. That's the kind of people my Gay Foot Academia is made for. Are you one of them?
Oh my god, I have been waiting for fucking cancer!
I first came across this series after Bleach came to a rather underwhelming end, leaving me with a shonen-sized hole in my heart. I was in need of a new, hopefully less frustrating series to fill it. I decided to give My Hero Academia a look since it seemed to be receiving glowing reviews, so I figured that was the perfect opportunity to jump into the series.
Let's use the tournament arc for example. There was non-stop action that kept us reeled in and excited to see what happens next. My Hero Academia does not carry one dull moment.
It really hit me in the Kokoro so fucking hard. Like, it was a hard hit at the Kokoro.
Deku is better than Naruto and Luffy. He doesn't stumble into success, he plans for it.
Deku, though, has neither the luxury of time or the luck of your standard main character.
And now it's symbolism time! This pile of weeds symbolizes the quality of My Hero Academia. This lighter symbolizes the mind of a hero tard. This flame symbolizes their claims about the show. Oh fuck! Ooh. This burn symbolizes my reply videos. And these ashes symbolize the credibility of anyone who still defends this bullshit.
What really elevates this series above the usual fare of shonen works is how it manages to break the mold of what we've come to expect from the genre, and how it skillfully subverts our expectations.
This show somehow manipulates you into investing in these characters in the best possible way.
Give me the feels like it gave me. Dude, I had a tear in my eye when I read that panel, like that fan page. I was like, holy shit, dude, it strikes you.
He is shy, but not to the point of cringe.
Yes, he can summon the strength All Might has shown to possess, but not without gravely injuring himself in the process.
He doesn't need to worry about any restrictions to his body.
My Hero Academia is not ruined. Deku having 7 quirks doesn't actually mess with the story of My Hero Academia.
Oh boy, here it comes!
My Hero Academia is a bit different in this regard. This overpowered Deku actually shakes up the shonen narrative quite a bit, and it may seem like Deku is just that, OP. But the world of My Hero Academia is a bit different.
Unlike anything we've seen before!
You have to be an underdog up until the point you win, otherwise it really doesn't count.
He defeated Overhaul!
It may seem with the addition of 6 new quirks to One For All that Deku has suddenly become OP. No one said it was going to be easy. Deku now has 6 additional ways to break himself.
And 1 Eri to fix them all! And in darkness bind them!
The purpose of One For All has always been to cultivate enough power and skill to eventually have one of its users defeat All For One. Having 7 quirks will lend him the power and technique to accomplish this.
But he's already defeated!
All For One and Shigaraki are more powerful than the greatest heroes.
And that's why they were both easily captured.
This also explains why All Might was unable to harness the power of the vestiges in the previous users of One For All, and ultimately why I believe All Might failed to defeat All For One. He just wasn't powerful enough.
He already defeated All For One! Twice!
Deku will defeat All For One and Shigaraki, and I imagine he'll need all 7 quirks to do so.
So much for needing the other 3,000 characters in the show.
This tragic story of 2 brothers, All For One versus the righteous One For All, will come to a cataclysmic end, an immense clash of superpowers, showcasing a wide variety of quirks and skill.
Remember when the show was supposed to be about low-level battles, where they needed teamwork because each one of them could control only 1 quirk? Well, not anymore!
Controlling the power and drawbacks from 7 quirks will be quite the endeavor, but Deku is up to this task. Due to years of studying and writing in compost notebooks, he knows how so many quirks operate that I'd be hard-pressed to think he couldn't handle this challenge and master these quirks from the vestiges.
Because those notes were so useful in mastering his first power, 60 episodes to learn how to kick instead of punch! Oh yes, they were so useful!
Deku has also learned to fight without relying on any quirk, since he was once quirkless and once couldn't control One For All. He'll be able to adapt like no one else can. He'll be able to use and possibly even fuse quirks together to handle any situation.
How does being used to not using any powers will make it easier for him to fuse powers? What are you talking about?
I know it seems like My Hero Academia is going down the same route as all the other shonens, but let's have some patience and just trust in Horikoshi.
And why are they all repeat the exact same thing?
But I have faith in Horikoshi.
I have a lot of faith in Horikoshi as a writer.
Let's be patient and see where Horikoshi goes with this. As we know, he's a great storyteller.
Kohei Horikoshi, the creator of the series, has smartly made Deku's new quirk a double-edged sword. While it is indeed powerful, using it at full strength without the proper training can cause irreparable damage to Deku's body.
And now he can just do whatever he wants without any limits.
Nomu and All Might went blow for blow until All Might decided to up the ante and go beyond 100% of his own ability. That was sick, man. Just freaking sick.
It's been dominating the rankings recently in the top 10 of the rankings of Shonen Jump.
His goals aren't built on proving everybody wrong. They're built on proving himself right. He believes he will be greatness.
Even though he's objectively weaker in this state, he's now able to fight and apply his powers in more ways than just a 100% smash.
Horikoshi made a big oof in this latest chapter.
Trust in Horikoshi.
Horikoshi make a mess up with his writing.
But I have faith in Horikoshi.
You know, it created a plot hole. I have a lot of faith in Horikoshi as a writer. It did definitely create a plot hole.
Trust in Horikoshi.
He basically admits that he forgot.
But I have faith in Horikoshi.
That entire moment within the latest chapter definitely created a plot hole. I have a lot of faith in Horikoshi as a writer. He made a mistake.
Trust in Horikoshi.
Everybody creates mistakes in their life.
But I have faith in Horikoshi.
And I think that's something we gotta learn from as well and realize that it sucks he made that mistake. But once again, nobody's perfect and everybody makes mistakes. I have a lot of faith in Horikoshi as a writer.
Why are they all repeat the exact same thing?
But okay. Let's talk about the little things that Horikoshi has been building up for a while now, especially with this arc.
Let's be patient and see where Horikoshi goes with this. As we know, he's a great storyteller.
Also, unlike his classmates, Deku has been quirkless his whole life, and thus doesn't understand what it's like to use and manipulate a power of his own.
He will more than likely be the best hero ever in the end. Personally reminded me that I can do anything I can put my mind to doing.
My Hero Academia has become the new golden standard for battle shonen, and for a good reason. My Hero Academia is incredible.
Essentially, it's a series about a boy who doesn't have any superpowers and wants to become the best hero. Seems impossible, right? Want to find out if he does become the best hero? This impossible feat engages the viewer from episode 1.
Boku no Hero Academia's take on superpowers and heroes still manages to be new and refreshing.
Twitter was full of people yesterday making fun of those who say Midoriya breaks the stereotype of boys don't cry. A stereotype almost every shonen protagonist is breaking since the freaking 70s.
My boys cry literal fountain
comes out of his eyes. Somebody help him!
Deku hasn't had many winning battles, and the wins he has had have usually come at a great cost to his physical health.
Wait a minute, you're telling me I can use all of my power, gravely injure myself, and it can get healed and there will be no negative permanent repercussions? Well, count me in.
The idea of quirks is interesting and something new that we haven't seen in anime.
Serve as foils for their respective users. Their power is a part of their identity from the beginning.
The fight between Midoriya and Todoroki, at its core, is a battle of who is the better hero. What we see in the first half of this fight is his determination to forge his own path.
Spider-Man is similar to Deku's character. He's so relatable. He was everywhere we went. Video games, toys, movies, merchandise, both of them being young of age. They're the underdogs that we love to support and hope they win. Inspire people of all ages to do the right thing. Both Deku and Spider-Man being bullied. Their strong sense of justice and morality once they receive their powers. Whilst he is still at school, working a job as a superhero, juggling relationships and trying to learn his powers.
The characters that were in this filler, you could tell that Horikoshi didn't really have a hand in designing them. These girls legit look like something from like a harem anime. They legit looked like, you know, a series that would be ecchi. These designs are definitely not Horikoshi style.
They're made to be sexualized, like they're made to be hot.
We don't really know a whole lot about her. There's really not much details at all. Only thing we know is like her kept me interested from start to finish. Another best girl added into My Hero Academia. Woo! Like, whoa! That design, like, Horikoshi. Like, man, you really know how to design a female character. Like, yo, got a new best girl. Oh my god. Chip, Bakugo, and Setsuna. Man, like, Setsuna! Quality! The emotions in that scene is really impressive. Honestly, just blew me away.
For My Hero Academia to visibly show the path Deku takes to learning each of his techniques, as opposed to them just popping up out of thin air, is another great example of how this series breaks the genre's mold.
So why are the characters so good? The main character and the main supporting characters all have a unique personality with an interesting backstory.
If you have something cool and useful, you will be more marketable.
The fight scenes are some of the best in modern anime. You will slowly understand just how masterfully these scenes are crafted.
Deku's execution had many aspects that we haven't seen anywhere before. Ultra-reliable underdog kid is a common trope that we see everywhere.
There's a lot of layers to this, and I do like how it really starts making you think, because he had no idea what was causing it, and maybe Hana had no idea what her quirk was truly capable of. We don't really know.
Nobody put any thought into this season, and we have to pull up any flimsy excuse we can think of.
Like I said, layers. There's so many layers to this, and it can really just get you thinking about Shigaraki's backstory. He basically implies that he doesn't want to destroy everything. We don't really know.
It's a very, very impossible puzzle to make sense of.
You could probably assume that whatever was going on with Shigaraki's eyes is directly tied in with his quirk, either as a side effect, or it's just him scratching his eyes. You gotta think about all the layers here.
People of, I would say, moderate to average intelligence. We watch something like this and we go, what? And then there are people down the IQ scale who watch this, who don't retain information, who just absorb, oh, look at that shot.
It's so dramatic.
It's so dramatic.
Oh, they love each other.
Oh, gosh, they're
It's
just
so emotional.
Throw the word faith.
Trust in Horikoshi.
But I have faith in Horikoshi.
I have a lot of faith in Horikoshi as a writer.
The ability to have a character break from their archetype without betraying his nature is truly astounding.
Their abilities aren't overpowered to the point of literally ending existence. It helps keep this very super story grounded in a little bit of reality.
Now this automatically makes Eri extremely broken. She can heal and fix All Might, where he doesn't have organs missing, be completely fine again. Can she bring him back to where he was at, you know, the pinnacle of the symbol of peace?
It isn't just another battle to show who's more capable in combat. It's a battle of moralities and beliefs.
Izuku's probably going to beat the hell out of, Overhaul. Overhaul's not going to stand a chance. His quirk is very strong. It's accumulated a lot of power. We have seen some crazy stuff from All Might's abilities.
What makes the series so interesting for me is its divisive ideology on what being a hero really means.
The way Deku is developed shows how it's purely determination that's bringing him up the ladder, telling you that if you're a little meticulous, you will triumph in the end. He's doing something that literally anyone can do, if they just put some time and effort into it. This telling everyone that if you want to get somewhere, you can.
Horikoshi did a fantastic job with handling Shigaraki as a villain.
It's just something that they forgot about. That's all.
They forgot about everything.
Yeah.
As he has grown as a person, become an adult, he is now able to dissect and look at the situation of his life and analyze it.
This would be cool. How's it play out? I don't know.
Horikoshi perfectly captured the emotions of a scared child.
The show is literally gibberish. It's
Emotional gloss over nonsense.
yes, yeah.
There's just a lot of issues, and it doesn't seem like this world is ever going to be perfect.
It'd be cool if this happened, and they don't know where they're going with it.
But there needs to be ways to kind of figure out who is dangerous and who is not, and be able to help them.
Just throwing out ideas. Just, what about this? And I'm not going to think it through. What about this? I'm not going to think it through. This would be neat.
This chapter does open up a lot. It's a loaded chapter, and I cannot wait to see what's going to happen next.
Don't fucking wing it and have no idea what you're doing or where you're going.
Especially when you set up a complicated mystery from the beginning.
Horikoshi seems fully aware of the pitfalls of having overpowered characters, as even the most powerful of individuals has a very clear weakness. This right here is an example of masterful storytelling.
Unlike nothing I've ever read before.
He doesn't need to worry because Eri is going to heal him. He doesn't even care that his body's about to get destroyed. He doesn't care. And now he could go all in and use 100%.
If two characters get into an incredibly emotional fight and duke it out for X episodes, only for the fight to conclude and nothing to happen/change, I'd feel betrayed.
Everyone has some limiting factor that they must either battle with or learn to work around.
Now with Eri coming in, he doesn't necessarily need to worry about that limiter.
What defines you isn't how talented you are or how powerful your quirk is. It's about hard work, spirit, and the willingness to help others against all odds.
Having All Might say to Midoriya, "You too can be a hero, young man." It was like that moment where your father figure just gives you the "I'm proud of you" moment, and you're just like, why is this so good?
A week ago I made this topic where I had stated why Redestro was just another plot device and how he got wasted along with every other villain who is not Shigaraki. He would be much better as a mastermind who works with Shigaraki. The replies I got were basically that the two of them are incompatible and that I should be banned for having a different opinion. As you can see, I clearly stated the truth here. It doesn't matter if they are incompatible, since all the villains already are incompatible. The only reason they are together is for smashing things easier. There is nothing in common beyond that. And of course the fanboys pulled out a bunch of mental gymnastics for why the League of Villains all agree with each other, although they don't, and also why Redestro will never, ever join Shigaraki. And then the recent chapter comes out and this happens. Redestro is now Shigaraki's bitch. So much for all that bullshit about never joining Shigaraki because they have different ideologies. So I make another topic where I ask why did that happen if they are incompatible? Guess how fast everybody changed his mind and is now claiming the two of them are compatible, and it makes complete sense for Redestro to join Shigaraki. Once again you see how these easily controllable sheep that are the My Gay Foot Fetish Academia fanboys will accept anything they are given regardless of what it is. And they are willing to change their mind every week if that means they can support the crappy shonen they are currently hyping. This is why you can never have a discussion with a fanboy. You can only have a circle jerk. Fanboys are capable of banning you for something they will be in full agreement a week later. And that is why I am better than any fanboy.
Redestro joining him makes perfect sense, I personally believe.
Every character has their own goals, their own dreams, their own ambitions of becoming a hero, and seeing how they clash with one another is what makes My Hero Academia so appealing.
The introduction of the hero killer Stain was one of the best written supervillains that I've ever seen.
People say that this latest school festival arc is relatively pointless. This arc isn't pointless and it actually holds a lot of weight. The main point of the arc was to make Eri smile. That is not something you would see in a fucking shonen. It's for adults.
Midoriya, a powerless underdog as the protagonist of My Hero Academia, is a decisive break from the shonen formula. Pick a popular shonen and the main pull behind that anime is a confident, overpowered character. My Hero doesn't do that, and it's the first step in showing just how unique and important Midoriya's character is.
Midoriya says fuck you to toxic masculinity, you claim. Something that never was and never will be a theme in the show. You just make up any shit that comes to your mind, even if it's contradicted in the anime. Or did none of you notice All Might being a heel made of muscles, and you all love it when he punches the bad guys? That's not toxic all of a sudden.
The hypest episode of My Hero so far, overused tropes aren't a problem at all, as long as you have perfect execution. Deku has truly grown into a hero. The whole fight and the sequence of events was a little cheesy, but the way it was presented and executed was so emotionally powerful and left pretty much everyone in a state of bliss. And the whole build-up was just done so right with Kota's cynical and jaded views of heroes at the beginning, which obviously changed after seeing Deku go through what he had to go through in order to save Kota.
If you just walk up to a stranger and try to help them, they're not going to want to hear a word you say. And I feel like that's kind of a jab at all shonen in general. Horikoshi was very self-aware in that moment when he wrote that line for Todoroki. Shonen have stuff like that to where the MCs or characters in a series will talk with an individual to change them just like that, and then everything's, hunky-dory after that.
Midoriya's power is quite literally knocking down emotional walls.
The characters are genuinely relatable, it's exciting, and I can't wait for more.
That's what the international community thinks is the best anime. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Boku no Hero Academia, and Kimi no Na wa are the top 3.
It's useless in the grand scheme of things, it's not important, it was actually extremely important to make Eri smile. It's for adults.
Coming from a place where almost all shonen battle protagonists are overpowered ballbusters with special attributes and characteristics that make them stand out, Midoriya is undeniably generic. He's got no crazy muscles that make no anatomical sense, no special powers that shine a limelight on him. He's powerless, shy, and a massive superhero otaku. Midoriya is like me.
After impressively analyzing the situation logically, he realized that there was no other choice than to fight and defeat the monster. And I think the key point here is that Deku thinks that trying is more important than the result. He pulls out his 1,000,000% smash, which actually isn't 1,000,000%. The author himself has came out to state that he had Deku say that just to pump himself up. It could not get more perfect than that.
Your life shouldn't be shaped by other people's perspective. Instead, you can choose the path of who you want to be by breaking the mold.
10 out of 10. That's amazing. That's great symbolism.
There was a lot of sacrifices that needed to be made to achieve that smile and happiness of Eri. His sacrifice of losing his quirk and it can get healed and there will be no negative permanent repercussions.
Midoriya is the future #1 hero of the world. We know this from as early as the 2nd episode. Knowing how it all ends doesn't remove the excitement or the pain. Instead, through the narrative and the emotional range which the show is so capable of handling, you immediately connect with Midoriya and begin to root for him.
Okay, you are really over-exaggerating how bad the flashbacks are. The flashbacks don't even last that long, and they exist to develop characters. They're important. Developing characters is very important for a show, not just moving the plot along. And what's wrong with the scenes becoming shorter? It's not really a problem. I don't want the episode to drag on. Why would I want that? You can make the argument that you can't keep up because how fast things are going, but that's a you problem. This wasn't a problem for me.
From the Tards of the gay foot fetish that breaks the genre's mold, the same ones who claim Deku breaks the stereotype of boys don't cry, comes the new thought-provoking revelation. Uraraka breaks the shonen female lead curse. It sure does when it claims she is a female lead and not a minor or secondary character. Unlike any other female character, she has her own drive and is not defined by her male co-star, something that has never happened in any other show in the history of forever. Despite the fact that she is in love with the main character, has never achieved something big on her own, and always has men above her that do all the work. Also, her only drive is making money. How inspiring for a heroine to want nothing out of her job besides money. But at least she constantly remains relevant to the show. She levels up along with the main characters and is thus always able to hold her own. This is why the strongest students in the class are all boys and they are 100 times stronger than any girl. And she almost won once! That means a lot for women when they almost win against a man. So inspiring! It's also so inspiring to know the gay food fetish went out of its way, meaning it had no good reason to do it, and it changed the gender of many characters just for the sake of diversity. This way the backgrounds can now have an equal amount of useless women as they have men, and that means equality. And don't forget all the queers and the trannies. We need more of those too, otherwise we are not going to have enough diversity of useless non-binary characters who are sitting to the side watching straight men doing all the work. And thus the smart fantards of my gay food fetish proved once again why it's a masterpiece of great writing, because it has a character who breaks the curse by being more of the same shit.
It had some of the best writing I'd ever seen in anything. I don't like reading. It's just not my thing. It's confusing.
Izuku also sacrificed a lot. He had to fight, continuously breaking his body, trying to save Eri, and now he can just do whatever he wants without any limits.
That dichotomy of who he is and what he's destined to become is fascinating and pulls on the heartstrings harder than Naruto ever did. Because while Naruto is an outcast, he's still innately exceptional. Midoriya is not at all. Obviously, he attains power, but he does so as a gift.
I just see this as another you problem. You really don't have patience because you complain about flashbacks that don't even take that long. It's powerful storytelling, so fuck off that anime snob. You're trying to piss us off on purpose.
There goes the My Hero Academia fandom doing it again. The fans are going nuts. Studio Bones is getting all sorts of threats. Wouldn't be the My Hero Academia fandom without some death threats getting thrown at somebody over some minuscule stuff. There's always something going down with the My Hero Academia fandom slinging death threats. It's happened a lot with My Hero Academia. Threaten Studio Bones, call abuse, threaten Horikoshi, say that My Hero Academia, you're dropping it over this. I'll smack the fuck out of you, bro. Complaining about a line on a character, a literal drawing line on a character. You are being ridiculous, screaming over a line on a character drawn slightly more curvaceous. Simply because a line on an anime character was drawn slightly different. This is abuse. You're attacking the studio, threatening the studio. You're attacking the manga author that has nothing to do with the adaptation. I want to repeat one more time. He has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. Stop all the threats in general. Just stop the nonsense. It's entertainment. No need to send death threats over the smallest of things. You're a fucking idiot. You're the loser. Whoa, what are we doing here? It's not like the character herself is like all of a sudden going from point A to Z in terms of the way she acts, her personality traits, or anything like that. Still the same characters. Still the same characters. The My Hero Academia fandom is the worst because you say one wrong thing, they'll blast you to another planet. You, my friend, are an ignorant piece of shit. Can we just enjoy this? It's not a big deal. The character isn't any different. It doesn't shape the story in any other which way. It doesn't shape the story in any other which way. Normally, I'm just chill. Like, I try to be calm and relax about it. I try to be like, alright, whatevs. But when I saw this, it's like, fuck out of here. Say that shit to me at Anime Expo 2019. See, I won't smack the fuck out of you, bro. What is it that is so bad about that in particular to make you send death threats or threats in general to Studio Bones and Horikoshi? Pussy ass, scan later ass motherfucker wanna get mad? The fuck out of here, bro. And remember the golden rule. Suck my dick. The fuck you gonna do about it from motherfucking Brooklyn, New York?
While Midoriya immediately gains everything he ever wanted, he's physically and mentally incapable of wielding it in any way resembling effective without it also being self-destructive. This isn't a show of leaps and bounds like Dragon Ball Z.
When he went full cowl, I was kind of like, yes, now we can finally see him do stuff. I wanted to see superpowers, I'll be honest.
I want to see some damn
superpowers.
God damn it.
You're that anime snob. You're defined by how dumb you are. And you want to know why being a part of Overhaul Squad is important? They are a f***ing obstacle for the heroes to overcome. They are villains they need to beat. They are the antagonists. They play a big role in the plot, you dumbass. Quit over-exaggerating. Please, it's stressing me out.
We're watching someone work for what they deserve, and for the first time we're getting an anime that is very honest about the consequences.
There goes My Hero Academia fandom doing it again!
Many mangaka use diversity not because their stories need them, but because they want to increase the possible viewers by appealing to the queer demographic. As a result, lots of anime have gays and trans and all the other billions of genders, not because they are in service of the narrative, but because it makes money!
A trans character. And you even have the League of Villains like Toga, Twice, and all of them that actively go around and defend, you know, what she goes by. That was like her entire character.
The thing with queers though is that they don't simply stop when your work has more representation. They don't want more attention, they want all the attention. And the moment a mangaka does not do that, they turn against him in an instant.
Petty people that obviously look at things and they just don't take a moment to analyze it, realize what's really going on, they instantly want to be offended.
Horikoshi sensei, to whom we should all have faith in, did the same as so many other greedy mangaka and filled his roster with a bunch of queers, not because the plot demanded it, but because he wanted to make more money. And the moment he didn't give them all the attention, they began to attack him non-stop.
People are calling Overhaul transphobic. He does like trans people because he killed Magne, but that's not really the case. Would you let someone kill you? No. It wasn't because Magne was a trans as to why he attacked her. He was defending himself.
And that is why you never appeal to the queers and fill your fandom with them. The moment you do, you cannot stop. And if you do, you will be at fault, even when they are constantly attacking you for no real reason other than not giving them all the attention.
If you're this offended, just leave. You're not a fan of the series, get out of the fandom, stop watching the series, because you're just wanting to find a problem with the series where you could just rant about it. Like, just get out.
No, Chibi, you cannot even tell them to leave, because they will say you're being oppressive and they have freedom of speech. You cannot get rid of them once they come in, so you're better off not inviting them in the first place with queer characters that serve no purpose other than making more money out of queers.
I like anime, that person likes anime, she likes anime, he likes anime. Why can't we all just get along?
You obviously don't understand it because you're a straight man. You don't understand how we feel. And I'm getting upset again, damn it.
You're not part of the LGBT community, so you'll never understand.
There goes My Hero Academia fandom doing it again!
The other day someone made a topic on Reddit where he was basically describing the wet dream he had with a yandere from my gay foot fetish. It was so cringy the mods deleted it before I came back to keep a snapshot of it. However, the chat I had with him is still there, and I will show you what kind of a person we are talking about here. Yanderes are the worst girlfriends. Yeah, I don't like yanderes, but I make an exception for Himiko. Oh, what does that remind me of? Demon Slayer is an exception because I like it despite being the exact same shit as any other show that does the exact same thing. Because you like her as opposed to all the other yanderes who are the same thing. No, because I think she looks cute. The others are all cute as well. Not for me. It is sick anyways. Of course, I see being a yandere is a negative feature on a girl, but Himiko is at least a bit normal. No, she's not. What do you think Himiko will do with Deku? Slowly cut him and maybe lick the blood. Then become him, lol. Yeah, I wish I could. After that he went on describing all the gay shit he would do if he was ever in a bondage yaoi with Deku and Bakugo, which I am not gonna show you because YouTube became modern. But it's enough to show you once again what kind of people the gay foot fetish is attracting, and how fast they turn against it when it's not giving them all the attention.
The My Hero Academia fandom is the worst because you say one wrong thing, they'll blast you to another planet.
The Reddit topics about how disappointed people are with the 4th season of Gayfoot are increasing exponentially. The thing is, there wouldn't be as many if the manga readers hadn't hyped up this arc as the best one yet, even though it's the exact opposite. Hype once again raised everyone's expectations to unreasonable levels and ended up hurting the show more than it would have if the manga readers were telling the truth. But wait a second, why would the fans of a show be lying about it? I'm sure they wouldn't want people to hate it by telling them something that is not about. They would gladly tell them what it is about and have them liking it for that. Why would they hype it as something it is not? And the answer is cancel culture. If you are not positive 24/7, we will take you down. You are not a fan if you don't love everything about something you like. I posted the text you see as a topic on the Gayfoot subforum. As you can see, there is nothing offending about it. It's the truth. They hyped up the worst season as the best season, and thus they destroyed the credibility of the show they love so much. This topic got nothing but slurs and butthurt fanboys before the mods shut it down. And they even left a message for why they did it. For keeping communities safe, civil, and true to their purpose. Translation: be positive 24/7 or we will silence you. The true purpose of forums is allowing nothing but hype. If you're not hyping something, you're not safe and you're not civil. Which, as we can see every day, is not true because there are more and more people who are not civil exactly because they were hyped up from everything they were hearing about the show. Can you blame them for expecting too much? If the arc wasn't as great as they hear, there would be topics that would explain why. But there are none, because they shut them all down, and that can only mean the season will be great. If any of you still wonder why do so many people hate Sword Art Online, it's for the exact same reasons. The fans were doing nothing but praising it, negative opinions were mocked and silenced, and people had too many expectations because of it. And then the incest and the rape villains and the crappy storytelling made Sword Art Online, an otherwise run-of-the-mill light novel piece of trash everybody would ignore, the most hated anime in history. And at this rate, Gay Food Academia will soon take the second place, because the fans destroyed their own favorite show with the exact same bullshit. Congratulations, food fetishists, who want to keep your community safe, civil, and true to its purpose.
There goes My Hero Academia fandom doing it again.
A guy was asking, why do so many people hate Mineta when he's acting like a normal teenager? He's cool and he's funny, and you hate him for one thing. The obvious answer is because what he's doing is a crime, and he's not a baby who doesn't understand it either. He's old enough to be self-aware and to be charged as a criminal. The only defense he had against that is that he was desperate and that somehow makes it okay. Which of course, it doesn't. Your desires do not excuse crimes, because if they did, every crime would be excused. And exactly because Mineta is training to be a hero, someone who is supposed to be upholding the law and stopping crime, he only magnifies this problem. So if it's that easy to figure it out, why are some people not getting it? Because nobody gets punished as he deserves. Bakugo is not punished for his bullying, Endeavor is not punished for his domestic violence, Deku is not punished for his nepotism, and Mineta is not punished for being a sex offender. When a show refuses to have negative consequences, then the dumb audience begins to accept it as normal. It's like ignoring the obvious guilty person in Erased, or Goku forgetting the Xeno button, or every harem being about sexualizing minors. The show doesn't acknowledge it and pretends it's not a problem, so the viewer doesn't think so either. And it's fine as long as it happens in a fictional universe with a built-in law that allows your overpowered isekai protagonist to buy a harem of underage animal waifus. But when the setting is supposed to be like our world and follows our laws and morality, ignoring what is a crime within that universe is an obvious writing weakness. It is done purely for the sake of making your character cool and funny, by breaking the very law he's supposed to uphold, and yet never getting punished for it, unlike the villains who obviously get what they deserve. It's bottom-rank empowerment fantasy that follows perfectly the mentality of a spoiled millennial, who loves to complain about everything and then feels self-entitled when someone calls him out for the same bullshit he's accusing others of doing. And that is why gay food is bad, and you should feel bad for liking it.
It was so cool.
Petty people that obviously look at things and they just don't take a moment to analyze and realize what's really going on.
There goes the My Hero Academia fandom doing it again.
Did you know that if you didn't cry in the last 3 episodes of Gay Foot, you are not human? That's what the foodists believe. If you didn't cry with the terrible pacing, the off-putting flashbacks, the broken power-ups, the death of a character you hardly knew, and the incompetence of the police, you are not human. This is what delusional fanboys believe about anyone who doesn't like their garbage. They don't even see you as a human being! And before any of you tell me that it's just an idiot who says that, so we shouldn't generalize it, the sub-forum is full of that sort of shit. The mods are not deleting them either, despite openly ridiculing billions of people. Do you know what kind of topics they take down? The ones that are criticizing the series because they are not safe, civil, and true. Treating everyone who doesn't like the show as a subhuman is perfectly fine. Saying the flashbacks were bullshit is not safe, it's not civil, and it's not true. The subreddit is literally promoting this sort of mentality. And then some wonder why people hate anime fans. Because they treat you like an animal if you don't like their queer shit.
There goes my Hero Academia fandom doing it again!
In my episodic impressions for episode 78, I mentioned how Deku was not rewarded for his work. And this was not the first time it happened. He has never been rewarded despite everything he has achieved since the beginning of the series, which doesn't make any sense, especially when everyone calls him a hero just because he's dressed as one and not because he has been acknowledged as one for everything he has done so far. So I made a topic about it on the subreddit to see how the foot fetishists will try to excuse it. Predictably, they hated it and downvoted it to hell, and this is the best they could say for defending it. The news channels chose not to cover what Deku did because they focused on Shigaraki attacking the convoy. All the news channels chose not to cover all the news, and they specifically chose to cover the less interesting news. Nobody villain hurts a couple of nobody police officers is apparently more important than kid with the power of All Might defeats Cthulhu monster that killed All Might's sidekick. It doesn't make much sense, does it? It's almost like it was done deliberately, so Deku won't be rewarded for the sake of continuing the story. It's basically a case where the in-story reason doesn't make any sense, and you know the mangaka did it so just because he doesn't want the story to end right there by rewarding Deku as was promised in the beginning of the show. And the thing is, it's not just me saying that. Every comment in the thread was agreeing with me, while at the same time downvoting me, because the truth hurts. So essentially, the very fans of the show defend this bullshit not because it makes sense, but because they like the show and will defend it no matter how bad it is. And now that they downvoted my topic despite agreeing with me, they are free to go back to upvoting gender-bender fanfiction of their queer characters, which they call heroes, although they never get acknowledged for doing heroic things.
There goes my Hero Academia fandom doing it again!
Once again we see why this fandom is a complete joke. It's all fine when their escapism fantasy is relatable by being about things they care about in real life, such as teenagers and high schools and social anxiety, even if the setting is the far future when things are supposed to be completely different. But the moment they mention a name that was inspired by real life and they don't like it, although it's supposed to be a relatable and realistic story, they lose their shit even if it's supposed to be about a bad guy doing bad things that are very similar to what his name is based on.
Weekly Shonen Jump had to issue an apology, and Horikoshi, the author of My Hero Academia, also issued an apology due to the name feeling as though it's really closely resembling some messed up shit that happened in Japanese history.
Y'all got what you wanted, but I'm honestly embarrassed to be a fan. To claim he's a World War II apologist and giving him death threats is just fucking dumb. Every time I turn around, there's some retarded controversy painting the author to be something he obviously isn't.
To be fair, Japan as a whole has had a history of denying and not recognizing the bad things they did in that war.
Someone made a topic on the gay hand subreddit asking if people agreed that the story has declined. The answer should be yes, because as I pointed out in earlier videos, the potential began to get wasted in the third season and nothing remains by the end of the fourth. But because this is the sub-forum where people are overly optimistic, nobody agreed with that and only regard the fourth season as the black sheep of the arcs before everything becomes amazing once more. And may I remind you that the very same people were yapping about the fourth season being the best one yet when it began, only to change their mind by the time it was over. And even then, not all of them agreed it was terrible. There are still those who think it was amazing, like this one here who claims the school festival, the one where everyone was bored out of their minds, was an amazing arc. And the way he explains it comes down to this. It was full of light-hearted fun. Because that's why people are watching Fighting Shonen for, the light-hearted fun. And that's why they were bored out of their minds while watching it. Why bother watching more school comedies when you can watch modern Fighting Shonen, which are the exact same thing? This is how low the bar has fallen in modern times. People watch action series for falling asleep. Then he says it's an arc where the characters are being students for once. For once, because they never were before. There never were episodes of them being in the dorms and doing nothing of substance thus far. This was the very first time. They were training and fighting crime in every other episode non-stop. Also, how is not doing anything supposed to be a good fighting shonen? Oh, I know, by not being one. It's a more school comedy where the only thing that matters is a cute lolly smiling. And I know many will say the show has the word academy in it, so it was expected, but it also has the word hero, and there is nothing heroic in light-hearted fun and characters being plain students. Then he says it introduced two of the greatest characters. They are so great, they only appear once and are then removed from the show. What does that say about a show where the greatest characters appear only once? Oh, I don't know, that perhaps the ones you see all the time are shit? Then he says Deku is fighting solo for his own goals for once. It's unlike anything we've seen before, because Deku never before fought solo in the series and never before for his own goals. He was always fighting in a team and always for selfless reasons. Remember the time he fought Muscular with his team? Or when he wanted to be a hero not as a personal goal? The likes of which we've never seen before. And let's not forget that fanfic that became a theater play. It was mentioned once for a few seconds and it doesn't matter in the plot, but for some reason it made the arc amazing. A worthless fanfic in a moe school comedy that is supposed to be a fighting shonen made this arc amazing. Your expectations were subverted. And here's the funny part that will really blow your minds. One pointed out how it's also about Mineta being a sexual predator as usual, and the fanboy replied that it's just a throwaway line, and it's not enough to disregard an arc entirely. So let me get this right. Two characters we only see once are enough for making an arc amazing. A fanfic we only see for a few seconds and it's otherwise a throwaway detail is enough for making an arc amazing. But a sexual predator who is there in every arc since the very beginning and constantly does disgusting things non-stop without ever getting punished is a throwaway line that can be ignored and doesn't ruin the arc. This here proves the mentality of your average fanboy. He calls everything he likes amazing, even if it's just a fanfic that doesn't matter in the least, and systematically ignores everything he doesn't like, even if it matters. Because this is supposed to be a Hero Academy, and they're not kicking out a sexual predator that is not heroic in the least and contradicts the core elements of the premise. But nah, let's ignore someone who is present since the very beginning as a throwaway comment, and let's call one-time characters and fanfics the best shit ever. And that's why My Hero Academia skillfully subverts your expectations and gets better and better.
I never in a million years thought that I would be this hype for Shigaraki. Shigaraki is essentially a perfected normal that is being mind controlled and mind fucked essentially by All For One. Tomura has totally revamped and just changed. Oh my god! They are programmed to obey commands by certain people. Essentially, they don't think for themselves. He's changed the damn series at this particular point. Like, this don't even feel like we're reading the same shit anymore. On the field, there is something controlling Shigaraki's movement. Shigaraki greatness, because let's be real, he's the one running the show, people. Oh my god, he's not really in control of the show. Shigaraki, bro, Shigaraki, and oh my gosh, he's not in control and can't think for themselves. My Hero Academia greatness! He is basically being a puppet. This is the most serious this series has ever been in. All For One, we see in the beginning of the chapter, is smiling. It's because he's running the show in terms of he's all up in Shigaraki's brain. The best of what we've gotten thus far. Like, this feels so freaking hype. All For One is the one really calling the shots in Shigaraki's head. This is a villain.
Today I learned a character with free will that is using his brains for tricking much stronger opponents is less good than a character without free will who brainlessly powers through every opponent because he's the strongest. Also, I learned the best part of any shonen is when all characters become irrelevant besides the few ones who are the strongest. And that is why My Hero Academia is the new golden standard for shonen.
And remember the golden rule. Dude is absolute monster, beyond monster. I don't know what to call it anymore, but I'm loving it.
It's time to go balls deep! How the Age of Heroes has come to an end. Horikoshi does a brilliant job. This will make the society question how things are. Horikoshi does a brilliant job. Brings the question to the wider public on what's going on in this country nowadays. Horikoshi does a brilliant job. The people in My Hero Academia will have the realization that this current system of heroes and villains isn't working. Horikoshi does a brilliant job. A change needs to happen in the hero society. Horikoshi does a brilliant job. Some kind of reform waiting to happen after this arc. Horikoshi does a brilliant job. All of this has been piling up since the beginning, foreshadowing this change. Horikoshi does a brilliant job and how the current society will crumble. Horikoshi does a brilliant job. It just keeps blowing our minds and raises our respect for him. Horikoshi does a brilliant job. This is the type of stuff that me and Arthur will study at high school in media analysis class or English literature. Horikoshi does a brilliant job.
The similar piece now has fallen to the ground. He knows that things are going to change pretty rapidly. If All Might would have died in that battle against All for One, it would have inspired so many others, countless others, not just Izuku, to build themselves to be a lot stronger, to be able to stand up, but thanks to All Might kind of being alive, it made it to where it stunned Izuku's growth. It kind of stunned him to where he didn't really feel like he needed to grow. He's gonna have to live in a world now, watch the world slowly crumble around him, that used to have a pillar, but no longer has it. He's gonna have to watch society slowly come undone. He didn't have that pressure of All Might actually dead, gone. He didn't have All Might support anymore. And now with All Might toppled down, society is entering into a new era. Changes are going to happen. All for One was correct. Thanks to him not being in the picture, Shigaraki is being able to grow, while Izuku has been stunned in his growth because of just how All Might is still around. His world just came crashing down, and that's the effects of the symbol of peace being exposed and breaking. Thanks to All Might kind of being alive, it made it to where it stunned Izuku's growth. This holds a lot of weight and impact on the story. All Might is gone. It kind of stunned him to where he didn't really feel like he needed to grow. That's a big deal. That's pretty big.
And you're still a shameless money-sucking baby.
I'm not sure how to feel, okay? I'm not sure how to feel about My Hero Academia right now because Shigaraki is in trouble, fam, and what he's facing right now is ridiculous, it's unfair, whatnot, but I still gotta keep on standing because he's been incredible so far.
Do you believe in a starfish Hitler? Cause he's real and he's really, really cool.
A lot of what the heroes of UA struggle to do, I don't think it's gonna come up to much. Come on, fam, let's keep it real while we're fighting here right now. I don't think that that's going to amount to really much.
What's up with this weird guy? He looks really gay. Why does he wanna kill Starfish Hitler and rape his children?
Please, Horikoshi, don't do Shigaraki dirty. Don't do him like that. Come on, we need more of that greatness.
Starfish Hitler. He's a starfish and he's Hitler.
He was put together to be able to do everything that he does and to be able to protect his people. So I love the parallels you see between the heroes and the villains. Like, that's kind of like something that you will see on the hero side in a sense, if you think about it. Like, he's doing this to protect people he cares about.
Starfish Hitler. He wears a hat and he's really, really cool.
He's effectively protecting his friends, his Nakama. It just so happens that his friends, his Nakama, are the League of Villains.
Starfish Hitler.
Again, it's cool to get some of the members of UA, the other members besides the main trio, whatnot, to do some things. I was like, okay, it's fine, but yeah, again, I don't really expect much from all of them.
Starfish Hitler wants to kill that really weird red guy.
There's a lot that's kind of happened. We've had massive character development with Kirishima, Mina.
A lot of what the heroes of UA struggle to do, I don't think it's gonna come up to much.
Being able to at least topple him on the ground like they did is a feat. Coming together to even be able to make the man fall briefly, to actually stall him even for a few seconds. That is absolutely insane.
Come on, fam, let's keep it real while we're fighting here right now. I don't think that that's going to amount to really much.
Momo's development to this very point. Something that is incredibly important about this when it comes to our characters.
Okay, it's fine, but yeah, again, I don't really expect much.
And I'm just so happy that Momo isn't one of those characters that is just thrown to the side, useless, never good.
A lot of what the heroes of UA struggle to do, I don't think it's gonna come up to much.
There's just so much here that happened within these chapters that show that even minor characters, they can still do their own thing. They can still be very useful.
Come on, fam, let's keep it real while we're fighting here right now. I don't think that that's going to amount to really much.
I always love seeing minor characters within a story actually being able to do things and not just sit on the sidelines and being completely worthless for the remainder of the series once a character gets a certain power up.
A lot of what the heroes of UA struggle to do, I don't think it's gonna come up to much.
Let's talk about Mount Lady for a second, because I think she is a relatively important character that has definitely demonstrated herself to be very useful.
Come on, fam, let's keep it real while we're fighting here right now. I don't think that that's going to amount to really much.
It shows that she wasn't just a character to be just introduced in the first chapter and be a throwaway, once again showing that there is usefulness to her character.
Okay, it's fine, but yeah, again, I don't really expect much.
Even what they're doing, they're only stalling him briefly, and that's it. They're just stalling him briefly, and he will get back up again.
He was bloody and visibly shaken, but no one stopped to help him.
Because they would be punished if they did.
Everyone just assumed that a hero would come along and help this young boy, because helping is a hero's job.
And also because it's illegal to help someone if you're not a hero.
Why would anyone else inconvenience themselves or interrupt their busy day on account of this lost child? Let someone else handle it.
Because if they help out without being heroes, they will become criminals.
People who are not heroes are not going to feel the responsibility to help others.
It's hard to feel the responsibility when it's against the law.
Why should I take time out of my busy day to help this kid?
Because if I do, I will end up in prison.
People who live within the hero society rely too much on pro-heroes and the pro-hero system.
Because if they don't, there will be billions of unsupervised people using city-leveling superpowers.
The hero society is rotting from within, and this rot itself creates villains, and then these villains go on to destroy society.
And by villains you mean people who use their powers without being heroes.
The newest major twist in Boku no Hero. Makia has annihilated everything in his path. It wouldn't be crazy to assume that some heroes might have died during Makia's rampage. Miruko is alive. Gran Torino is alive. The class 1A and 1B students appear to be okay, but things just keep getting more and more intense. Deku unlocks a new quirk. Although, let's face it, we all knew that this was coming. Shigaraki's body is breaking down. Although, let's face it, we all knew that this was coming. All the efforts of the heroes appear to have been worthless since they couldn't stop Makia. Although, let's face it, we all knew that this was coming. Makia is on his way. Although, let's face it, we all knew that this was coming. Dabi is about to come face to face with Endeavor and Shoto. Although, let's face it, we all knew that this was coming. Horikoshi has really made this arc an absolute roller coaster ride. We all knew that Deku was going to unlock Float sometime soon. I am excited by so much stuff that just happened. We just didn't know when exactly it would happen.
There is a large part of the community that did not like this chapter.
I'm rooting for the bad guys. I want to see bad guys win. Yeah.
Apparently there isn't any weight or like death. Have we been reading the same manga?
I want the villains to win.
You have like multiple characters that just died in front of us. You have entire cities being rampaged.
Shigaraki the fucking go.
There's no talking or saving to anyone that thinks there is no weight to this arc after everything that has already happened thus far.
Mommy, I don't want to be a superhero no more, no.
People don't like this chapter because there wasn't a straight up fight between Toga and Ochiko. It was about Toga getting information. It was never about a straight up fist fight. She wanted information. That's all she really wanted. That's what she was seeking. And anything else that was added onto that was just flair that Horikoshi Sensei himself was throwing in. For instance, any fights, etc.
Shigaraki the fucking go!
If you wanted a fight, this is not your manga. This series isn't just dedicated to fights. If you only want fights, this is not going to be your type of manga. I don't know how you haven't realized that yet if you're still reading this manga over 200 chapters deep, but that's the point.
I'm rooting for the bad guys. I want to see bad guys win. Yeah.
Dabi has finally confirmed his true identity to the world, but I don't think that many of us were surprised after all this time. It actually matters a lot. It doesn't matter. No one saw this coming. Seriously though, we all saw it coming. It actually matters a lot. It doesn't matter. The way that Dabi revealed the truth and the implications of that reveal on the entire hero society were absolutely game-changing. It actually matters a lot. It doesn't matter. This was so freaking epic. One of the best chapters in all of MHA. It actually matters a lot. It doesn't matter. This chapter was insane. As soon as the leaks dropped, Dabi was trending globally on social media. It actually matters a lot. It doesn't matter. Dabi explains that for years he has been waiting for the perfect way to destroy Endeavor's career, just as he finally achieved his lifelong dream of becoming the #1 pro hero. It actually matters a lot. It doesn't matter. What a moment this is, not just for this arc, but for the entire Boku no Hero series. It actually matters a lot. It doesn't matter. This reveal instantly became a national issue. Everyone in Japan just learned the dark truth about the #1 pro hero and Endeavor's reputation is ruined. It actually matters a lot. It doesn't matter just when they desperately need to have faith in the heroes and in the #1 pro hero in particular. Dabi has managed to completely discredit Endeavor, and along with him, Dabi has discredited the entire hero system, the whole hero society. It actually matters a lot. It doesn't matter. Dabi's reveal about Endeavor will be just as effective in eroding trust in the hero society as the biggest and most destructive villain attacks. It actually matters a lot. It doesn't matter. We all remember when Horikoshi was criticized for giving Endeavor a sort of redemption arc. Horikoshi was never planning to just let Endeavor off the hook for what he has done. He was always planning to have Endeavor faced with the past in the form of Dabi. So, everyone who criticized Horikoshi for Endeavor's development clearly jumped the shark and had no idea what they were talking about. It actually matters a lot. It doesn't matter. This chapter is only the beginning of the Todoroki family drama, and I can't wait to see the impact of this massive reveal on the wider hero society.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Shigaraki the fucking go!
Another day, another example of how dumb the Hero Tards are. Someone was asking why does everybody hate their fandom? Are they homophobes or something? Gay shipping isn't that bad. Yeah, it's not. But gay shipping between minors who show absolutely no romantic, much less gay tendencies in the canon, and which for some reason they all wanna have a sex change, is... And it's not like that is the only thing Hero Tards are doing. Remember some time ago when they were spreading lies about Deku being the first shonen character who cries? Uraraka breaking the curse of female characters? And a whole other shit that made them look like complete idiots? Well, they didn't stop, because now they are spreading lies about Deku being the character who has suffered the most out of all anime characters. I wonder why people are making fun of them after they keep on doing that. And I wonder why people are not showing them any respect when they make their sub-forum private so nobody can see all the shit they are saying and eventually believe, and then ban anyone who questions their nonsense so they can keep believing those lies. Not to mention when they are deleting their own shit instead of admitting they were wrong. I wonder why would people make fun of them when they nag about being hated for no reason, while in the same comment they are defending gay shipping and sex change amongst minors who have no such tendencies. That's not mental or anything. There is no reason to hate them. I mean, don't you want to be like Digipedo, who craves little girls and then chops off his own dick? That's not weird or anything. Get out of here, you hate these innocent, pure, minor gay trannies who think no other character is as good in any other show. That's not a reason to hate them.
We just witnessed the feat that he took at the hands of Overhaul and losing his quirk. What the heck? How did it happen with Meteo's return with his quirk? There are people that are very, very disappointed, that were wishing that Meteo didn't get his quirk back. Meteo, welcome back to the fold, fam. He's really, really wrecked, man. He almost just died a couple of chapters back with the whole thing of Shigaraki blasting that chain and shit. So we gotta wait to see, but either way, he's back on his feet. My Hero Academia to the bitter end of 2020 has been a shining light in the world, because my gosh, talk about being hyped, talk about being excited about something, talk about just getting people fired up in one way or another to chat, because this was one hell of a chapter. Best Genius was killed by Hawks. They're gonna have to get rid of Endeavor, and more than likely again Hawks. Yo, wasn't you supposed to be dead? That was a real dead body. What the hell? It is going to discredit everything else that Dabi said. Fans loving this series, going crazy for this series. My Hero Academia greatness!
There is repercussions to this arc. There is a lot of weight and depth to this arc. Okay, it's fodder. I shouldn't really care about them. Hundreds upon hundreds of people that basically are gone now from the series, and we may never even know their names. Okay, it's fodder. I shouldn't really care about them. I mean, we knew that there was going to be a lot of repercussions. Okay, it's fodder. I shouldn't really care about them. We had to lose a lot of good characters. Okay, it's fodder. I shouldn't really care about them. Native actually died as well. I know many of you might not actually know who Native is. You might have forgotten about him because he hasn't really been relevant, basically. Okay, it's fodder. I shouldn't really care about them. I wonder where the story's gonna go after this. I'm super excited. Obviously, at the end of the day, they're kids, and they don't really fully think everything through. They don't actually truly understand.
My Hero Academia fans have done it again. They've been trolling and harassing the translator. They trolled him off of Twitter, and it's just disgusting behavior. Okay, if you feel he has an agenda, you're definitely in your right to criticize and stuff like that, but to harass and continuously troll and bully and stuff like that to the point of somebody, running them off of social media, that's just lame. And, the My Hero Academia fandom has been guilty time and time again of doing this. Criticism is one thing, harassment, bullying, and trolling is another. Have your criticism, have what you got to say, but harassment and bullying is a whole different story. You can have your opinions and shit like that, but the harassment, cut it out. My Hero Academia fans that do this type of shit, like, threatening Horikoshi over narratives, threatening Horikoshi because your ship isn't going down and shit like that, tighten up and knock it off. The way they're behaving is very unfan-like. Like, you can't love the franchise if you're gonna do things to hurt it, right?
Deku intends to learn Naruto's most powerful jutsu, the Talk no Jutsu, the one he used against Obito and everyone else.
What really elevates this series above the usual fare of shonen works is how it manages to break the mold of what we've come to expect from the genre, and how it skillfully subverts our expectations.
Deku declares that he intends to save Shigaraki from All for One.
My Hero Academia isn't your conventional hero story. It's so much more than that.
He could see a scared little child being used by All for One. This is a similar phenomena when Naruto cried after witnessing and feeling Obito's memories, and then Naruto changed his mind to save him.
Midoriya's power is quite literally knocking down emotional walls. Deku has evolved from a simple hero who just saves civilians, but now he will try to save everyone, including the villains.
Deku's execution had many aspects that we haven't seen anywhere before. Ultra-reliable underdog kid is a common trope that we see everywhere, sometimes done well and sometimes not.
Its new purpose is to save everyone. This is quite similar to Naruto's Talk no Jutsu and breaking the cycle of hatred.
My Hero Academia is a bit different in this regard. The world of My Hero Academia is a bit different.
Unlike anything we've seen before!
Every shonen seems to follow the same path.
Izuku Midoriya just challenged one of the strongest villains in Japan to an epic rematch. That villain is of course muscular, and things are only getting more intense. He set up a rematch with one of the strongest villains in Japan. He now has an opportunity to get revenge on the very person who sent him to prison. This chapter had zero chill, and I loved it. I am very excited to see a rematch between Muscular and Deku. Do you think that he will take Muscular out? This is going to be crazy. Deku standing over him and holding a seriously injured Shindo in his arms. This really drives home just how much things have changed since the beginning of the story. Wow, what a great chapter. We may end up seeing some hero students dying. If Deku didn't show up in that exact moment, Shindo would literally be dead. We have to appreciate the gravity of that fact. The MHA manga is so epic right now, and I am loving it. Deku's current behavior is definitely not what we've come to expect from the average law-abiding pro-hero. After defeating Muscular, he ties him up and takes him to the police. Deku has also changed as a person. He has matured and evolved. All Might is there on the scene in order to advise Deku and keep track of his progress. We have just entered a new stage of the Boku no Hero manga. This is a new beginning. The special support item around Deku's arms is the power stabilizing mid-gauntlet, a version that can handle 100% of One for All's power while preventing injury to Deku. Dr. Mario then tells Deku that he still has to be careful and take care of his body. Even though he has done a lot of damage to his body in the past, this time around the damage was not bad. This new quirk potentially make Deku more resistant to damage. There is a lot going on here. It is all very interesting. Right now, there's definitely a lot to speculate about. Did this new quirk somehow change his anatomy? Does it allow him to recover quicker? Or maybe it's some combination of those two? Is this a quirk that Deku maybe isn't even aware of yet? Or is he aware of it, so maybe Deku knows that he has a new quirk, but we, the readers, still don't? Or maybe this new development is just like a side effect of the evolution of One for All itself, rather than a specific new quirk that Deku acquired. Deku is now a major target for the most powerful villains in Japan. Naturally, this worries her deeply, but All Might assures her that the UA is going to be the safest place for him. He decided to leave the UA. Deku seemingly fighting as a lone wolf vigilante. Deku wanted to protect his friends, and he refused to put everyone he cared about in harm's way. Deku and All Might teaming up with the top 3 pro heroes to save Japan. So it seems that Deku is not really a lone wolf after all. This final showdown between the heroes and the villains is just getting started. Almost made me feel bad for Muscular, since the dude was out of jail for like a whole 5 minutes before getting wrecked by Deku again and getting rearrested. Thank you to the sponsor of this video, Dragon Raja.
In today's topic of why shonen tards are really stupid and why you should not be part of any fandom because of them, we have this duel. What's wrong with women dressing like sluts? That's what makes them popular, therefore it's good. Stop demanding from them to dress more modestly, because that would ruin their appeal and they will no longer be popular. Which is the only thing that matters in My Hero Academia. What? Did you think it was ever a show about being heroic?
Make sure to get yourself a box of tissues.
Let's check the replies. Being sexy is not evil. Since the dawn of creation, people were sexually attracted to each other. We should stop acting like finding someone to be sexy is evil. It's natural, therefore women should always dress in slutty ways. Because that is exactly what the topic is about, right guys? It's about complaining unreasonably about people dressing in slutty ways. It is definitely not about being provoked into feeling sexual attraction towards certain characters and during situations where you shouldn't. What's that? You shouldn't feel horny all the time? And for every person you meet? What's wrong with you? You're not normal!
Make sure to get yourself a box of tissues.
And what's this nonsense about complaining about underage women dressing like sluts? They are not real women, they are a piece of paper. Which means it's perfectly fine to draw stuff on paper that makes people horny. Because it's normal to be sexually attracted to a piece of paper. It's not like anyone's life can ever be affected by fiction. I mean, being a middle-aged man who is sexually attracted to pieces of paper is completely normal and does not affect your life in the least.
Make sure to get yourself a box of tissues.
And what's all this nonsense about women dressing in a way that reflects their personality? It doesn't matter if they are timid. What matters is dressing like sluts for the male gaze. Because it's normal to be sexually attracted to an underage girl who doesn't behave like the way she dresses. Stop trying to change her design to something that fits her personality. That doesn't make any sense.
Make sure to get yourself a box of tissues.
And finally, what's this bullshit about the costume not being practical based on the superpowers she possesses? That is completely unrelated to me feeling vindicated to be horny all the time while you're looking at underage girls who clearly feel uncomfortable every time they bend over. It doesn't matter if it doesn't make any sense in the story. What matters is my dick constantly standing up while reading my slutty academia.
And make sure your door is locked too. You don't want no one coming in.
Once a series has been around for a decent amount of time, certain elements that were originally a core staple of what the story was all about start to change. Remember the days when My Hero Academia was a story about a quirkless kid and him working hard and he inherited a quirk but he had to overcome it? And that was like 8 quirks for one dude or some shit. Deku was like damn near on a god tier level at this point. The amount of quirks he has, the way he's able to utilize quirks that he ain't even used yet. This is the first time he's about to use it. This is not the same My Hero Academia. This is not that same vibe. This is not that same feel. The series has never been the same again. Like for starters, All Might went from being my favorite character hands down in My Hero Academia to he's okay. You go back to the All for One battle against All Might. A lot of people, including myself at the time, initially were like, man, that would have been a great time to have died right there. He survived it. I am not mad at all. It definitely is a showcase and a telling of where the times is at in terms of popular literature. Deku, he's a damn near god now, mate. But Lady Nagant, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. If you agree with me, hands down, you gotta drop a like with me, okay? Lady Nagant is a bad motherfucker, like, yo, woo! Bad bitch, bad bitch, bad bitch. Oh my god! Horikoshi is in his horny bag. The way he drew this bitch, I'm like, oh my god, I can't stop looking at Lady Nagant. Fam, even when Lady Nagant was aiming there with her freaking sniper rifle shit, I can't, oh my god!
So freaking hyped.
This season of My Hero Academia hasn't been the hypest.
Was straight flames. Like it was beautiful.
A lot of people haven't been just, going gung-ho about it.
I've been waiting so freaking long to see One For All having other quirks a part of it. When this started kicking off with Deku's Black Whip, this new power that he got, the predecessor of One For All coming to speak to him and things like that, people were dropping the manga. What an episode we actually got this week. My Hero Academia story was introduced as a singular quirk user. You know, he was quirkless, got it one quirk, and moved forward. Where this right here happens is that it changes everything dramatically. There is so much good about this episode of My Hero Academia. A lot of people started dropping My Hero Academia. This is kind of concerning because giving, someone so many powers, oh wow, there's just a huge power gap between everyone else. They're not going to really be able to do much in comparison to Izuku, but that is actually not the case. Even though Izuku might be powerful, it doesn't mean every other individual character becomes instantly irrelevant. It's been primarily focusing in on a lot of side characters. Obviously, we know there's a lot going on with Izuku, but there's other characters we need to talk about. They're not the Deku's, Bakugos, and Todorokis. Kinda has been a little bit like, So there is a lot to think about, a lot to theorize, a lot to ponder, and I know the community's gonna be up and really discussing everything. People are not fond of this new transition of the story to moving in a different direction. Her character really experienced a lot of growth with this episode, and I think people are really gonna fall in love with her. My Hero Academia has just never been the same again, and unfortunately, a lot of people dropped the series at this point. We have all the other, Class B. We had their quirk reveals, Twin Impact, just, the size related one, and then we also have the ability of Poltergeist. There's a lot of things we got to see. Yeah, it's been very slow. A lot of people have been like, wake me up when it gets good again. And so I just think that this is a great episode, and we got to see a lot of different elements that are moving the story forward. The manga My Hero Academia fans hated this whole thing of Deku with this new power, and cannot wait for next week. The manga fandom, they fell off. A lot of people to this day have not read a singular chapter following these events. This chapter changes the whole context of the series of My Hero Academia. And the entirety of this series has fundamentally been shaken to its core. Lady Nagan is a bad motherfucker, like, yo! I do wonder how long Horikoshi has been cooking up this twist in the story. I really do wonder if he has had this planned since the very beginning. It makes sense that it was always there. He puts his hand on his chin. Woo! Bad bitch, bad bitch, bad bitch. Oh my god! The reason why we do not see any bad heroes is because the Public Safety Commission gets rid of them. The way he drew this bitch, I'm like, oh my god, I can't stop looking at Lady Naga. Because it lets us know all this happiness and rainbows that we have been continuously seeing throughout the series is a lie. So we all know about how Hero Society, even since the very beginning, isn't working properly. Fam, even when Lady Nagant was aiming there with her freaking sniper rifle shit. Now we know why there's no heroes stepping out of line. It's not because they don't want to, it's that the ones that do are just, they vanish. Lady Nagant is a bad motherfucker, like, yo! Nagant was doing the exact same thing that Stain was doing at the beginning of My Hero Academia. I don't know how many people realize this, but it's literally the exact same thing. Woo! Bad bitch, bad bitch, bad bitch. Oh my god! If, certain villains are so bad that they need to die, you'd think Stain would have been dealt with. But no, I'm assuming the Public Safety Commission couldn't get rid of Stain, because if Stain just mysteriously disappeared, there would be a lot of things that would happen. People would start to look at the Hero Society in a very wrong way. It would do more damage to get rid of Stain. The way he drew this bitch, I'm like, oh my god, I can't stop looking at Lady Nagant. Nagant, she was kept alive. Now this is one that I was really trying to wrap my head around. Like, why would Nagant be kept alive, even though obviously she was a traitor? What I came to is they were probably trying to brainwash her. That's what I'm assuming. Fam, even when Lady Nagant was aiming there with her freaking sniper rifle shit. It makes me wonder if there's any characters we've seen throughout the series that have vanished and we're unaware of it. Lady Nagant is a bad motherfucker, like, yo! There needs to be people to realize what's really going on in this world, and that it isn't sunshine and rainbows, and you really need to separate who's actually a true hero and who is a villain. Woo! Bad bitch, bad bitch, bad bitch. Oh my god! So much to really think about and just brood on thanks to the reveals. It's no longer guesswork, it's no more theories, it's just straight up truth now. The way he drew this bitch, I'm like, oh my god, I can't stop looking at Lady Naga.
Anyone who still reads My Hero Academia for some reason will know that the writing has gone to shit. Either because Horikoshi stopped giving a shit, or because Shonen Jump told him to wrap things up in a hurry because they are about to axe the manga. As a result, events that would normally last for dozens of pages are summed up in one speech bubble. Deku unlocks and masters new abilities in an instant. A character who implodes to little pieces is alive in the next page. Heroes who are caught in the middle of a huge explosion are alive in the next page, and they simply tell us they escaped. The battle with an assassin is resolved out of screen. The main bad guy keeps sending one assassin at a time for tormenting the protagonist instead of exposing to the public the nepotism he has gotten from All Might. There is absolutely no build-up and no payoff. It's complete trash and an insult to good storytelling. Nobody who has good taste would approve of this garbage, much less make fun of those who didn't like it because it's clearly bad. Unless, of course, you are a mindless fanboy who will defend the garbage he is eating no matter how bad they taste.
If chapter 317 of My Hero Academia didn't hit you in the feels, then fam, I gotta say, maybe you ain't human, fam. Maybe you something else.
When you have a creative studio project in progress which aims to teach people how to be good writers, and you get quotes like these, then I'm not gonna stay silent. This is a direct insult to every aspiring writer out there. If you are trying to be better at writing, you are not human? You are something else? This is something anyone who insults me for making fun of other YouTubers without having done anything to me doesn't understand. How can you not hate this community when they treat you like that? How can you imply people who are attacking the ogre do it out of jealousy or because they want to troll his viewers and create drama for easy views? He caused this. He and every fanboy like him keep insulting us on a daily basis for trying to produce something better than the garbage they are consuming. This cannot go unnoticed because it goes against everything the gold standards of good writing are all about. Plus it's Pride Month, so I really care about homosexuals. I didn't make them my enemies. They did by framing me and anyone who wants to be a better writer like we are alien monsters who know nothing about what it means to be human. This is war, and they started it a long time ago by calling subhuman anyone who doesn't like their trash. It's not my fault I keep making videos about their crimes against humanity. It's theirs.
Deku is going to slowly kill himself. The one thing that could lead to his tragic downfall. A problem that could bring about his tragic end. That heroism could be the very thing that kills him. If he ends up destroying himself and his own body in the process of trying to be a hero and save everyone, he may be slowly killing himself right in front of our eyes. Deku is on the brink of collapse. It isn't looking good for Deku. The civilians are about to dogpile him to death. Deku is slowly killing himself.
Fam, my emotions shattered into pieces. They're continuing on in the story and not looking back at My Villain Academia, the arc that all of the fans, screaming we want to see.
The fans of my mass-murdering Villain Academia are depressed and disappointed for not getting to see edgelord Shigaraki murdering thousands of people in Tokyo while laughing like a maniac. What they get instead is filler episodes, arcs that nobody cares about, and promotion of the upcoming third movie. They feel the studio betrayed the manga and ruined the flawless masterpiece of Horikoshi-sensei. In reality, the studio is just doing what it's told by the production committee, who care more about good public relations with the media than pleasing the several thousands of antisocial misanthropic tards who are still watching the new gold standard for shonen anime.
All I feel is pain right now. It looks like Horikoshi did something great that we love over here, but Japan is not really trying to see that shit.
I mean, what did they expect at this time of the year? Screaming from sadistic pleasure by watching edgelord Shigaraki killing senselessly thousands of people in Tokyo while the Olympic Games are taking place in Tokyo? As much as some will say My Edgelord Academia is a fictional story that takes place in the far future and thus should not be compared to what is going on right now in the real world, the memes its antisocial misanthropic tards are making fill the internet in present time and during the Olympic Games.
Horikoshi, he has done a phenomenal job with these villains, and to see this story of these villains getting pushed to the back burner like this, like, it doesn't deserve what's going on right now. It didn't deserve to get skipped and pushed to the back burner.
Just imagine the dozens of articles that would be written and the mass media coverage of anime fans find pleasure in watching Tokyo getting destroyed during the Olympic Games. What kind of an image would that have for public relations of the studio and the anime community in general? Also, why is anyone surprised by such a thing when it's not even the first time it happened? Remember the outcry when the Doctor was named after a spooky camp of World War II? That happened 80 years ago, while my mass-murdering villain academia takes place in the far future. There shouldn't be any connection between these two things, and yet here we are with the outcry.
This is gonna leave a stain on My Hero Academia's legacy, and I am sad. Very, very sad. Yeah.
Also, it's not like the setting of my mass-murdering villain academia is identical to today, or its characters are behaving like spoiled Zoomers of today. But what do I know? All I know is that the antisocial misanthropic tards are depressed because they don't get their dopamine by watching someone like them killing everyone on Tokyo during the Olympic Games. It's clearly the studio's fault for disrespecting the flawless masterpiece of Horikoshi sensei.
Oh no, what have they done to our villains? Long live the League of Villains, Shigaraki, Toga, twice, all of you freaking awesome people.
Deku is supposed to be a loner now, when he's not a loner because he's part of the most powerful team of heroes. All Might has become his butler and he makes him lunch and shit. The show is lying to your face.
Well, that's a great way to just start this chapter. Okay, this is already looking to be good.
He's facing assassins who take turns attacking him. They don't just attack him all at once, despite knowing how broken he is. As a result, they are defeated easily, so it's stupid to keep doing that. Then comes an assassin who uses civilians as a human shield, and Deku can't just punch the guy. He's finally going to be punished for always wanting to save everyone, and we will finally get a decent plot twist.
Yo!
But then his schoolmates jump out of nowhere and defeat the assassin, thus instantly ruining the tension. Did you honestly expect this dumpster fire to actually do something good?
Oh, it's beautiful, it's perfect, it's amazing!
Then Horikoshi tries to retroactively explain how the hell did the students appear there exactly when the plot wanted them to appear, and makes things worse. The top heroes do not help Deku for allowing the students to do all the rescuing and the talking, meaning the reason Deku was alone during the attack of the assassin was because the other heroes deliberately stayed away for endangering his life so a crappy moral message from his fellow students can follow.
He would just be truly by himself. Nobody will be there to assist him whatsoever. So I feel like this is probably the smartest play.
The plot frames it as if they saved him from the assassin and now try to reason with him, when it was a trap for placing him in a situation where he needed to be saved so they can talk about their feelings. What a bunch of assholes!
Endeavor is thinking about Class A as well, and Izuku's well-being. He's not just trying to do it the most efficiently, he's doing it in a way to really consider their human feelings. That shows growth in Endeavor's character. I really appreciate that so much.
Not only that, they were hiding the whole time, waiting for Deku to be in trouble before they appear so they can come off as heroic, when in reality they engineered the entire situation just so they can appear when the plot wanted them to appear, for virtue signaling the whole deal. And this is what Horikoshi tells us what being a hero is all about.
It's so good! I know everybody wants to call him a crybaby. It's so good to actually seeing him cry!
Then his heroic schoolmates begin this tantrum where they beg him to come back to them, although they should be pissed off for lying to them all this time.
Yo, this is why I love my hero!
His power is not his own, he never won with his own effort, he's a cheater! And yet everyone is fine with it, including Bakugo, whose entire existence was based on bullying Deku for being weak, and they don't call him a fraud who stole their chance to score big!
Yo, that's a hype, hype.
But this doesn't matter all of a sudden, it's a plot point everyone is ignoring despite every dick rider of the manga constantly saying Deku is going to face severe consequences when the truth is revealed!
Yo, this is peak. This is peak. This is peak. Yo, this is good. This is good. Oh,
Instead of that, we get a childish moral message about friendship and how amazing it is to be part of a team. So much for the manga finally becoming dark and serious. It's still about using the power of friendship for fixing everything.
Ah! It's so good though!
And the thing is, the power of friendship doesn't even make any sense, since Deku was part of a team, and his own friends staged the whole thing, so his life will be put in danger and they can jumping and show off about it. What an absolute sham of heroism!
Oh, it's so good. It's so blessed. Oh my goodness, what a chapter. Oh, what a chapter.
What follows is Deku hurting his friends for not leaving him alone, although the sole reason he doesn't want to be in a team is for not letting someone getting hurt because of him. And here he is hurting everyone by himself. The irony.
It is so beautiful because it's like, it makes the most sense.
As if that wasn't enough, Mineta, that molester who wasn't kicked out of the academy despite all the unheroic shit he has done, comes out as bisexual and in love with Deku.
So much character development.
Obviously every queer fan of this abomination rejoiced for getting moral representation. Congratulations queers, you got another sexual predator to represent you. How real and relatable do you find that to be?
Yo, that's a good chapter.
Thanks, Horikoshi! You created a masterpiece! Look how happy the fans are!
Fantastic! Yo! Oh no, what happened this time? What kind of controversy has Horikoshi Sensei and My Hero Academia gotten to itself this time?
Watching the alphabet people lose their minds on Twitter when they think they got the representation they demanded, and found they didn't like it when they found out who got made queer.
Oh no, what just happened? Like, what's going on here?
The Rainbow Coalition demanding Horikoshi Kohei, the creator of the manga, add in representation so they can see themselves in the characters. Because with a cast of nearly 36 characters, they just can't find anyone to identify with.
So Mineta was apparently trending for almost 24 hours straight.
It's a perfect storm of mistranslation, assumptions, forced diversity, and fake offense.
My Hero Academia is always surrounded by controversy.
It's not enough to actually have a diverse cast. No, you need to have a character that exactly matches their specific lived experiences, or it's oppression and erasure.
Apparently Mineta is gay.
And at first they're like, yay, representation. Then they realize who Mineta is. He's a super pervert.
Mineta has done some very awful things in the past.
There isn't a skirt Mineta hasn't tried to look up, or a girl he hasn't perved on.
He's the type of character that's kind of like that perverted character, you know, that's just doing the fan service type stuff within a story.
They're like, we want representation. And Kohei's like, fine then, here's his little ugly short pervert. And they're like, not like this. Now they're demanding that he not be bisexual because he's not the one they want to represent them. Never mind that none of the characters represent any of them. They're just interesting characters Kohei made for the story.
If it turns out he is, he is.
Never mind that there was a time when the kids went to a hot spring where they're all naked, so if Mineta was interested in other boys, he'd have plenty of opportunity to perv out since he was in the spring with them. But what did he actually do? He tried to sneak a peek at the girls' side, pretty much proving he's straight.
What was trending for My Hero Academia did not turn out to be anything truly like heinous, nothing bad, or anything like that, no.
The bigger question though is, why does this even matter? The story is about a bunch of kids becoming superheroes, not who they're attracted to.
No disputes, rants, etc.
Why is there this constant obsession from Twitterati and former Tumblrites to make everything about which character is GLBTQ MNOP plus asterisk hashtag up down left right hold A press start?
It's nice to see, you know, something for My Hero Academia trending that isn't necessarily outright bad. I'm happy for that.
Stop reading more into things, and then you won't have to flip out on Twitter every time you find out the character you don't like is the one like you.
How I felt about this film, it's a fun film. I wish I didn't fall asleep.
He puts his hand on his chin.
Looked great. It was awesome. Had me a little bit, sleepy.
He puts his hand on his chin.
When we sat down, I was kind of hype. I fell asleep a couple times and was snoring.
He puts his hand on his chin.
It started off somewhat hype and then put me to sleep.
He puts his hand on his chin.
Explosive in certain aspects. Kind of had me falling asleep.
He puts his hand on his chin.
Definitely an interesting and fun time. I wish I didn't fall asleep.
He puts his hand on his chin.
This is something that I would definitely say you could go with family. It was just like a lot of bromance between the two of them. Fujoshi bait.
He puts his hand on his chin.
Family friendly, cool stuff like that. It was wrapped up with a lot of Fujoshi bait.
He puts his hand on his chin.
A family friendly film, candy coated with a bunch of bromance and things to attract that audience. And now I understand why in Japan it was said that this film had more female audience than male audience. This is an enjoyable film for people that don't even know about My Hero Academia.
He puts his hand on his chin.
If you want to see more, of course, of your favorite heroes, highly recommended. You only seen the main character Deku on screen for a good chunk of it. The rest of the heroes are off doing other things. Not necessarily what I want to see from a My Hero Academia film, just Deku and this new creator character Rhodey.
He puts his hand on his chin.
Overall, I will say it's a fun film. Those epic suits that, you know, they put it in the trailers, they put it everywhere. Damn, maybe this is like leading into a time skip of sorts. Like, look at these epic suits. And those suits were shown literally for like 10 minutes of the film, and then the rest is like you see them in normal attire. Where are those epic costumes with the hoodies and stuff? I wanted to see more of them.
He puts his hand on his chin.
Deku is framed for murder. It's a cool hook. Anybody that knows even a slither of Deku, has even had an encounter with Deku, isn't gonna believe that. Who's believing Deku is a criminal?
He puts his hand on his chin.
They just kind of had like a big brawl at the end. It wasn't anything where Deku could whip out the strategy that he's known to have. That's an integral part of who Deku is. That's his superpower of like, hey, let me use strategy.
He puts his hand on his chin.
Just lacked, again, a lot of the substance that My Hero Academia is known to throw in.
He puts his hand on his chin. Izuku is no longer a child. It's very obvious.
I'm not crying. You crying? I'm not crying. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. God damn it, who's cutting these onions?
It basically says he can no longer be a kid. He's had to be forced to grow up in a very quick way.
You can be a hero, and Deku feeling emotional about certain aspects of things, and Deku crying in general.
Everything about this arc is taking a very interesting and grim direction.
1A goes through everything together. After some point, I've kind of just gotten to like, I accept it, you know, 1A goes through a lot of stuff together.
And I love seeing how the story is really developing into this darker tone, because we're no longer in, you know, like the school anymore. We're no longer in, you know, the whole kid phase. We're now actually seeing adult Izuku, basically, or, you know, a more mature Izuku.
Typical friendship, whatnot. Deku saying, you know, hold out your hand to me, you can be a hero too. I was like, okay, that was a little cheesy there, mate.
Showing that he's no longer that same naive child anymore. He's more matured, and, you know, you could see that he is someone that knows what he needs to do, and he's not gonna play around.
Deku cried, but yeah, he got to man up a little bit more. Just get past that.
And I do appreciate this little add-on to Izuku's character.
I think Horikoshi just did it right.
In the middle of the second major war arc in MHA, the mother of all shipping wars just broke out as Himiko Toga decided to confess the truth to Deku. Oh, and some other stuff happened involving Shigaraki, you know, like the fate of all of Japan and the entire world is at stake. I'm into both Miruko and Bakugo's mom. I guess Bakugo's just lucky that he's not a girl. Oh, and some other stuff happened involving Shigaraki, you know, like the fate of all of Japan and the entire world is at stake. The shippers are now absolutely losing their minds. Deku is sweating bullets. Ochako is getting ready to fight for her man. Some genius on Twitter is probably mad that it was Toga who confessed to Deku instead of Mineta. Oh, and some other stuff happened involving Shigaraki, you know, like the fate of all of Japan and the entire world is at stake. I'm honestly excited to see where this completely twisted love story goes. Oh, and some other stuff happened involving Shigaraki, you know, like the fate of all of Japan and the entire world is at stake.
Here is a topic that explains why My Hero Academia isn't that cliché, and it subverts a lot of shonen tropes. Grounded much more in reality compared to other shonen. Yes, it's so realistic. Everyone has a superpower. We are in the far future, and the society is exactly the same as ours, and everyone has superpowers. It's exactly like our world. Main character is a timid nerd. Wow, there has never been a timid nerd before in any kind of shonen. What are most isekai protagonists again? Main heroine has a crush on the main character rather than it being the other way around or no romantic interest. Because Bleach doesn't exist. Main character doesn't have some sort of a demon inside him. Whoa, this is such a cliché nowadays, isn't it? Where is the demon in Hokuto no Ken? Main rival is a fiery hothead. Because usually main rivals are introverted chill types. What? Even Pokemon had a fiery hothead main rival. The power system is unorthodox, very simplistic and grounded compared to other shonen power systems. Each character gets one power, and their progression lies upon improving it as much as possible, because there is no such thing as unlocking more quirks or improving them in the middle of a fight. No sir, My Hero Academia doesn't do that. Lack of any spiritual elements to the world. Oh, why is that a subversion? What about the ghosts of the previous users of One for All? That sounds spiritual enough for me. Also, no power system? Although you admit All for One is one? What the shit, dude? Transformations are rare. Because all shonen have transformations? I don't think so. Power progression is done through training and learning new moves. Mostly. Yeah, besides those times when they unlock something in the middle of the fight or just happen to have like 75 more things inside them that they didn't know about, that just one day wake up and there they are. The main rival isn't an anti-hero or villain and doesn't have an edgelord dark side mode. Because why? Main rivals all have that? Is Black Clover also a subversion for the same reason? Has a tournament arc without it being interrupted. Holy shit, we actually went there, didn't we? It's now a stereotype for every tournament to be interrupted, when the whole purpose of having interruptions in tournaments was to subvert your expectations. So now what? We are not subverting the subversion so we can have a subversion because it's not subverted? Fuck you! All Might doesn't die in his fight against All for One, which would usually happen considering his role in a shonen. Yeah, sure, because every single mentor dies in a fight or some shit. Him being depowered instead of dead is not enough, he should be dead, right? What a subversion! Rurouni Kenshin's mentor never died. The main rival doesn't have a proper motive for what he does at the start. Yes, he does, he just doesn't know how to do it, you moron. He wants to spread chaos and shit, he just doesn't have the means yet. The main rival takes on a student novice type role at the start under the mentorship of All for One, and then gets brainwashed and is no longer the main villain because now All for One is the main villain. So much for that subversion, it got subverted with a different subversion, woo! Thank you for telling us why it's such a subversion, you moron, you proved nothing.
Manga fans are being weird again, in particular the My Hero Academia fandom.
I was excited about Isuku's character being very analytical. He was someone that reminded me a little bit of Batman in a way, since he was quirkless, to eventually kind of being an underdog and getting a really strong quirk, you know, for All Might's quirk, you know, One for All.
When manga fans don't get their way per se, or when things go in a certain direction that they don't like, they feel like it's some sort of retaliation against the author by burning their own merchandise that they spent their money on to obtain.
It's been a very long time coming that this video needs to be made, and I've kind of been in more of denial.
I seen it at the end of Bleach when the pairings didn't go in a certain way. Fans were burning Bleach manga. Same thing happened with Naruto and the pairings.
I can't even deny it. It's crap. It's legitimate crap. That's exactly what it is. It's like a big dump was just placed on my table. I'm like, ah, it's crap.
It's ridiculous that we're in 2022 and with all of our, fandom predecessors, so to speak, we haven't learned anything of, you look like a clown doing that.
My Hero Academia tries to break outside of that formula, tries to do different things, and Horikoshi Sensei, since the very beginning of My Hero Academia, has shifted a lot of the cliches you would see in shonen onto the villains.
Forget the subversion of like you thought, hey, maybe he might die. It's Bakugo, it's the Sasuke of the series. They're not gonna kill him, at the very least not in this, maybe in a spin-off in the future.
There was a part really deep inside of me that truly wanted to believe that Bakugo was going to stay dead.
There's certain things that they're just not going to do because it will tank the popularity of, you kill off Bakugo, you just killed off a good chunk, maybe even half of the fandom of My Hero Academia.
Death of a character doesn't necessarily mean good writing or a good story. If you kill off too many characters, the audience or the readers can become detached, distance himself from the cast of characters, and not care too much anymore about said characters within the story. A Kamiga kill is a very good example of this.
If you really are falling for the idea, the fake out, so to speak, you're kind of just fooling yourself. Like, there's certain characters that can die.
They could have done that with Toga, Toga.
People don't want to be associated with clown stuff like that. The average woman is gonna look at you like, oh, you're a loser, huh? You think you're gonna get bitches like that, dog?
What's going on here is typical grade A, creating fake tension to get people hyped up for the next chapter, and then bringing the character back and be like, yeah, character's back, and that's not how I feel. I'm just more disappointed.
I'm not gonna be all miserable and negative because something is kind of a flaw in a series that was never perfect anyway. Recently, over on Twitter, there was a poll, and it was basically which ship would you go for, Bakugo and Deku, or Bakugo and Kirishima. There's a lot of hardcore shippers. That's a big deal in the My Hero Academia fandom. I see it quite often. There was some people, because they wanted to win so badly their ship, to put down $2,000 in bots to win the poll. Every time I think, I've probably seen it all. There is some fandom out there that yet again surprises me and makes me say, oh, didn't see that coming, folks. My friends and I spent almost $2,000 on the poll because we wanted to win, only for you to delete it? Are you serious? You. This is so weird of you, dog. The person was very upset and just making the My Hero Academia fandom look down horrendous over this. We wanted to do something nice for our community because we never get anything, but of course you had to be the bitter bitch. Dog. My Hero Academia fans hit a new low, and I'm just kind of shocked to see it. We bought around 20,000 votes. Why? It's a poll. It's not real. I thought I saw it all, but they shock me every time. If you think this is some sick joke, you too. $2,000 going down the drain isn't some laughing matter. It's not a laughing matter by any means. You put it down the drain the moment you decided to invest in Twitter bots to win an imaginary Twitter poll, dog. You spent 2 bands on a Twitter poll for imaginary ships that aren't even canonical to the manga by any means. People have been buying / botting the poll, so one side would have more than the other. This was supposed to be just for fun, not to spend money to prove something. You're rigging polls, and that's your fault. You decided to spend 2 bands on it for this imaginary thing. And honestly, this makes the fandom look bad, considering they rigged it and spent real money on it. Honestly, that's bozo status right now. This just really blew my mind. Like $2,000. Like, My Hero Academia fans, please do better. Please, for the love of God, stop doing this so we don't go out looking absolutely sad as hell.
Don't listen to him. Keep on doing it. I'm loving the hell out of all the cringe you guys are making. Keep on doing it. Idiots.
Deku has found out Bakugo is about to die, and he has entered the final fight going berserk. It's alright, man. We got the power of friendship, man. That's the difference, right? We brought you back from being a loser and becoming evil because we're friends. Yeah, friendship matters, guys. Bakugo has died, but Edso sacrificed himself to bring it back. Who? Even Mirio doesn't care that Edso is going to die. Neither does Deku. That's how irrelevant that character is. As Deku looks around him, he sees everyone injured and passed on the ground. This would render him useless, just like the 99% of the other heroes and characters of this show. Yeah! These heroes are also human and have feelings. They have their own lives and own downfalls. They would be irrelevant flies just as Shigaraki stated them to be. Deku goes completely batshit crazy and berserk. We see Deku wipe his tears apologizing to Mirio. Typical Deku, crying at every occasion that allows it. No wonder people think this guy is a bitch. The world of morality is grey. It's not black and white. He's evil for the sake of being evil.
Yo, an ordinary man. It's so good. It has everything I love about My Hero in it. It's crap. It's like, if you like My Hero and there's a lot of elements you wish would be in other series, you would probably love Unordinary. It's legitimate crap. There's a lot of good stuff that My Hero does that is incorporated into Unordinary. It's crap. Oh man, it's so good. It's like about an underdog character that eventually tries to rise to the top, and the whole system and everything. It's so good. It really is. It's crap. John being basically an underdog, someone that had no ability, come to find out he has an ability, he's very strong. It's legitimate crap. There's a lot of mystery and a lot of shadow in that part of the story. We don't know a whole lot about John's father. There's, theories and speculation. There's been probably a lot of community discussion on it. It's crap.
Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
I thought I heard it all when it comes to complaints for My Hero Academia. I thought I heard everything you could possibly say. It has caught in so much hate over the last, I want to say maybe year, maybe more, for the series have gotten downright bottom of the barrel to arguably pathetic. Well, what was it? Was it some sort of censorship, or maybe a fight didn't live up to the expectations with the art and animation, or a plot twist didn't go the way of the expectations of the watchers? Like, what did they do? They gotta nuke that blue ass sky, bro. I'm so serious. And also, if you go into the replies, it was a lot of people as well going very hardcore saying, yeah, I feel this, and I'm just here like, dog, am I in the Twilight Zone? Like, where am I right now? What world did I just pop into that the color of the sky being too blue?
Absolute garbage.
Is this the lows that we've gotten to when it comes to criticism, that we're searching so much for something to tear something down to get that little bit of validity?
She has blue hair.
To resulting to, they gotta nuke that blue ass sky, I'm so serious, and people replying saying that the art in My Hero Academia for the sky has been horrendous, it's so bland. Like, why is this a thing?
The biggest flaw is definitely the hair.
People are complaining about the sky.
Her hair should be blue, but it's purple.
I mean, fam, have you looked up lately? It's blue.
The whole hair color thing, it has a lot of weight.
I'm trying to break down to you why the sky is blue. What the?
Directly leads into where she beds Kaneki. That is very vital.
Why are we going this route, dog? This is ridiculous.
It just shows that they truly don't really understand or comprehend what Tokyo Ghoul is really about. The blue hair.
Dog, the sky is blue.
People's opinions on My Hero Academia has definitely deteriorated, and I literally have nothing against these chapters whatsoever. It is easy now to basically punch at My Hero Academia. It's a punching bag for the online community, but it doesn't detract anything from the quality. If you talk about the series in any positive way, you're probably laughed out of the room. Which is sad, because despite obviously My Hero Academia's manga and anime having some flaws, fundamentally it is still a very enjoyable story. There has been quite the lack of threat and danger. These chapters still feel very good. A lot of people really don't talk about the manga much anymore. A lot of people have fallen off of the manga because it's not what it once was in a lot of people's eyes. I don't think the story has really weakened or really, I guess, deteriorated in the last chapters. The latest chapters are all like 9 to 10 pages. It basically implies that there is something fundamentally going on behind the scenes. It's very clear that it's deteriorating. I don't think there's anything wrong with La Brava, but people obviously might be against this because it might feel very cheap or unwarranted because it kind of came out of nowhere, but that's a mixed bag. It's gotten a lot better, and it's been very strong in the manga. There really hasn't been any, like, major character death that's really shocked the community. Besides that, it's been a very enjoyable read. All the love and care I've had for the story is just gone. Nothing wrong with that at all. I don't see any plot holes, nothing wrong with that, etc. I feel like it really does lack that tension, and where there just doesn't feel like anyone's really in danger. It's a series that obviously people, I think, have a lot of fond memories for, but a lot of people like to just crap on it nowadays. I do love My Hero Academia. I enjoy this manga. I read it to this day because of how much I like the manga, despite how low it potentially could go. It's so easy for people just to hate on it nowadays without really reading it. Be safe, stay healthy. Yo! What a chapter! What a chapter of My Hero! There isn't a whole lot of, sense of threat in this arc. How good Horikoshi sensei can be at writing characters like Star and Stripe. That's a good example. Obviously that's more of a negative, but there is a good positive to it as well. We know that Star and Stripe got killed off and was basically a plot device to weaken Shigaraki for whatever reason. Yeah, we're not gonna get into that. The point though is, Horikoshi has always done a good job. Because of how he's handled Bakugo, it really has diminished the overall threat level of like, oh, everybody's gonna be okay. I love this chapter. This is a legitimately good chapter. Yes, we know Izuku's gonna win. Like, let's just face the cold hard facts. Izuku will win this at the end of the day. He's gonna succeed. He's gonna win. He's a hero. This is a very strong start to 2023 for My Hero Academia. In a way, this redeems the manga a lot in my eyes. There needs to be a major loss for the heroes. There needs to be. Horikoshi did a really good thing here. Power of love. It's a common theme and a trope in a shonen. Fantastic chapter. Very good chapter. Everybody's probably heard of the power of love, power of friendship, etc. And La Brava's literal ability is the power of love. I'm pleased. I am pleased. I am legitimately pleased with this chapter. Hopefully Horikoshi Sensei continues them. I do hope that we, at least until the series ends, we stay consistent like this, because this is a legitimately good chapter.
Gentle is really pushing himself to the limit. There are no cameras here, and no one even knows that he's the one holding the UA up. In the past, Gentle always wanted cameras and an audience. He wanted fame and notoriety. But now that he's risking his life with no one even being aware that he's there, allows him to understand what a true hero feels. This is real selfless and self-sacrificing heroism. La Brava has already managed to restore the UA's flotation system, and she is now hacking into the students' phones in order to broadcast their footage of Gentle live across the entire country. She declares that she can't let Gentle's legendary deeds go unseen by the rest of the world. This is real selfless and self-sacrificing heroism.
I'm not even gonna lie, I was very much so invested in it. I thought this is so different from My Hero. It's a breakaway from, you know, all of the hunky-dory sports festival, yeah, we all rocking together type of vibe that My Hero had introduced. I was like, this is a breath of fresh air and I'm really hyped for it. Let's freaking go. When we got to this episode, I remember being very upset. I remember thinking to myself, oh no, shorty, what we doing here? Class 1A, go away. Like, I really was not for it, simply because I thought this is so different from My Hero. When we got to this part, again, I was like, yo, I like seeing this. This is so different for Deku as well, seeing his character developments. So when we get Class 1A slowly but surely gearing up to come drag Deku back, I was annoyed. I was very much so like, oh, come on, Horikoshi. You just did so much really epicness of having Deku by himself. Why are we bringing him back? This is going to regress everything. However, after watching this episode and as just changing as a person, I kind of have a little bit of a different tune. I remember reading this in the manga a while ago, and I remember not being the most fond of this material. Class 1A trying to drag Deku back, like, yo, you coming back to this school, fam, you better stop this Batman solo hero stuff, like, this is nonsense. However, after watching these episodes and growing as a person, I have a couple of things to say regarding that opinion. Sure, there's character development, sure, there's growth, but then there's also something that'll scar the character for life, and we won't get the same kind-hearted Deku back. I definitely understand the perspective of the people. Like, flat out, you're gonna be like, what are you doing? Why are you bringing him here? You're bringing the guy that is a target that is gonna bring the threat even closer to us. Definitely that's the people being selfish of, yo, we worried about us. Like, forget about that little boy right now. Forget about anything else. Like, we want to be safe. We want to make sure we're safe, and you bringing him here is bringing a problem to our doorstep. But big shout outs to what Horikoshi did with this character. When Uraraka grabs the megaphone and goes up on the roof and starts giving out a speech to these people about Deku and about allowing him to be there, doesn't he deserve love and care too? Doesn't he deserve a place to rest and feel safe for the moment as well? Like, is that all y'all think about is yourselves? Y'all not thinking about this boy? So Uraraka kind of giving that speech from the high up also gives a different perspective to the people and changes their hearts, and it was amazing. Take notes, shonen authors. I really hope they do take notes. Shout outs to Uraraka. Take notes, shonen authors. This is how you give a really epic moment, just straight up using the heart to speak out a powerful message, and I thought that was very awesome. It being a subversion,
I have to say that this was a fantastic chapter that built up a ton of tension. Prime, all for one, is an absolute menace, and no one is able to stop him. I mean, it's not like the greatest nemesis that he has ever had in his entire life is about to make a big return in order to stop him, right? Right? Well, actually, that is exactly what happens. This is peak MHA. Is All For One about to kill our boy, All Might? We could also see some shenanigans involving Eri and her quirk. Built up a ton of tension. Dabi is about to go supernova and kill a whole bunch of heroes and civilians. We could also see some shenanigans involving Eri and her quirk. Built up a ton of tension. The ceiling is literally collapsing and the lives of all of those people are in serious danger. We could also see some shenanigans involving Eri and her quirk. built up a ton of tension. Will Ida have to sacrifice his life to move Dabi out of range of the civilians? We could also see some shenanigans involving Eri and her quirk. Built up a ton of tension. I mean, just look at All Might's face throughout this chapter and how he talks to everyone. It really feels like he is preparing to make the final sacrifice right here and now. All Might potentially using Eri's quirk to rewind himself back to his prime. Built up a ton of tension. All Might could definitely die here. This could be his last stand and final sacrifice. Unless Eri figures out a way to rewind All Might without killing him. Built up a ton of tension. This is peak MHA.
For years, I was begging for this to get an anime, and My Hero Academia Vigilantes apparently is finally getting an anime. Yo.
I can't take this anymore.
Yo, man. Oh. Okay, this is amazing news.
You don't want to do that. Why not? Doesn't it work?
I have been waiting so long, man.
You have no idea what you're doing.
This announcement makes me unbelievably happy.
It's medicine. I give this to children. Only if you want to saw off their legs.
Like, this is legitimately just incredible news all around.
I'm in so much pain and suffer. Because this is far worse.
Just hearing the fact that My Hero Academia Vigilantes is getting an anime, it needed one for a very long time. It deserved one because of just the sheer quality of the writing.
It will take you to a lush meadow at the height of summer. You will lie down in the soft grass and bask in the sun and feel nothing but bliss.
The best elements of the entirety of My Hero Academia.
And you will never want to return to this frozen piss hole in the snow.
I hope the anime's good. I really do.
I have to get out of here.
I love Vigilantes, man. It makes me so happy.
We'll never be this good again.
Like, this is incredible. It's incredible. We have My Hero Academia Vigilantes. We have, in a week, we have Mushoku Tensei Season 2, Bleach, Jujutsu Kaisen, and a bunch of other stories coming. Oh my goodness, what a time. What a time for anime. Like, legitimately, what a time to be an anime fan. It is truly a blessed time. I can't wait. I can't. It's literally, that's my thoughts on the matter.
Whoa, we just witnessed 2 massive quirk evolutions within a single chapter. What is going on, Horikoshi? This is just insane. One of the main characters in the story is actively dying right now. Ochako's potential death would be an absolutely massive twist that would shake the entire world of MHA to its core. I just don't think that Ochako would be killed off. She seems too popular and too important. There is definitely a lot of blood pouring out of the wound. Now, if you're wondering how Ochako is able to use martial arts techniques after suffering a severe stab wound to the abdomen, don't worry, I'm wondering the same thing. But let's move on. The fandom would be absolutely shaken. Deku would be beside himself, and his rage over learning that Ochako died could trigger some sort of crazy one-for-all quirk singularity transformation. This could turn Deku into a straight-up quirk monster, a dark god of quirks. Just a few of the major controversies that have arisen out of one of the most controversial chapters in the entire series. This major fight in the final arc during a major war seems to have essentially ended through the power of friendship. Toga didn't take out the heroes didn't take out Toga. Ochako used Talk no Jutsu combined with the power of friendship to de-escalate the situation.
Trust in Horikoshi.
We are in the endgame, and the stakes should be higher than ever before. Ochako has been fighting using martial arts and using her quirk, and her quirk awakened, all while seriously injured and losing a lot of blood. How could she just keep going like she doesn't have a life-threatening injury? Will the injury end up causing any serious damage for her after the fight, or will it just be forgotten? making the injury itself nothing but a cheap tactic used to increase tension.
But I have faith in Horikoshi.
The MHA shipping wars have just reached the stage of nuclear apocalypse. This warm and emotional moment between Ochako and Toga is being interpreted as a sign of true friendship by some, and as a sign of romantic interest by others. And the two sides are of course not taking any prisoners on social media. Oh, and that line about Ochako falling in love with Deku? The Izuocha faction is riding high on the back of that quote, but the Deku X literally everyone else insurgents are digging in their heels for a long war of attrition.
I have a lot of faith in Horikoshi as a writer.
Some of the most unhinged shippers will likely attack Horikoshi personally because their headcanon didn't become actual canon. It seems ridiculous to think that this is even a possibility, but it's happened before. Just look at Tokyo Ghoul, and sadly I think that it's bound to happen again with MHA. And so the cycle of toxicity will continue even after the actual series ends. And there you have it. The only armor that can save All Might now is some serious plot armor. We learned that the ending of the previous chapter was a bit misleading. Deku is crying. His mentor and idol, All Might, is about to die right before his eyes. It turns out that just before the explosion happened, a bunch of spikes emerged from All For One's body, and they tore through both All Might's arm and the gauntlet itself. Quick correction for my previous video, All Might didn't really lose his right arm. It just looked like that because of the angle of the panel and where it was cut off. This could be the death of All Might. All Might's final, ultimate sacrifice for Deku and the next generation. Because these spikes then destroyed the gauntlet's mechanisms, it failed to self-destruct, and so the explosion did not happen. If this explosion is strong enough to basically end All For One, then it has to also be strong enough to end a completely armorless and quirkless All Might. Both All Might and All For One are in fact still alive. I mean, I really don't know how you can even have Toshinori survive this. I've been saying the same thing for the past several chapters, and yet here we are, he's still alive. All Might now dead, like for good. We learned that the ending of the previous chapter was a bit misleading. He just died in Deku's arms in a dramatic and heartbreaking way. Both All Might and All For One are in fact still alive. Their precious symbol of peace has been defeated, and that he is about to die. I've been saying the same thing for the past several chapters, and yet here we are, he's still alive. He then initiated the process of self-destructing the gauntlet in an attempt to cause an explosion that will kill All For One. We learned that the ending of the previous chapter was a bit misleading. The armorless and quirkless All Might expected to die from this explosion as well. Both All Might and All For One are in fact still alive. Hard to imagine that All Might could survive an explosion of this kind at such close range. I've been saying the same thing for the past several chapters, and yet here we are, he's still alive. Yes, his mom was hot, and I couldn't live with myself if I didn't bring that up, so drop a like for All Might's hot mom.
All those years ago, the original cruel death foresight that Night Eye had about All Might. This chapter is absolutely incredible. Bakugo explodes All For One's arms and saves All Might. Wow, that was incredible. And All Might's vestige keeps fading away. Oh man, this is incredible. And he's also altering Night Eye's future, just as Izuku did going against Overhaul. This is great, right? This is essentially the best case scenario. I was preparing myself for All Might to die for a while now, and I'm very happy about this, but it's like I don't have to worry about any of that because he's alive, and it's like, oh, this chapter is absolutely incredible. It would be really messed up if in the next chapter Horikoshi just kills All Might anyway after this. Wow, that was incredible.
Because Horikoshi doesn't want MHA to be as long as One Piece, it feels rushed. With things like Deku figuring out 4 out of his 7 new abilities off screen, all without really giving us any behind the scenes of how he mastered these techniques. I put myself in front of the barreling Mack truck that is the MHA fandom. I'm an absolutely massive fan of My Hero Academia. Relatively heavy and important important themes have been introduced during this final arc, like the fact that there is heteromorphic racism in the My Hero Academia universe that got introduced and wrapped up in a matter of 2 to 3 chapters, which made a lot of people ask the question, why introduce themes that heavy if we're just gonna sweep them right under the rug? I put myself in front of the barreling Mack truck that is the MHA fandom. The My Hero Academia anime is the only anime that consistently either gives me goosebumps or makes me cry. Heteromorphs are apparently treated as lesser than in the My Hero Academia universe, something that we've never been privy to for the entirety of My Hero Academia's run. And just kind of out of nowhere, it was decided that, oh yeah, heteromorphs don't do super well in society because everyone's mean to them. And wouldn't you know it, they're not so happy about it. But then, just as quickly as the problem was introduced, it was solved. I put myself in front of the barreling Mack truck that is the MHA fandom. Don't send me death threats, please. I really enjoy MHA. Have Deku meet a heteromorphic boy who's going through bullying because of the way that he looks. Tie that somehow into the ideology that a hero doesn't discriminate who they save, and therefore as a society we shouldn't be discriminating against other people. Use somebody like Spinner who's trying to trump up all the hatred of heteromorphs that are angry about the way that society has treated them, and give that like a long fleshed out arc. Or just don't introduce it at all. I put myself in front of the barreling Mack truck that is the MHA fandom. My Hero Academia, a completely rational and small fan base that will be nice to me, I'm sure. It's incredibly realistic that a large amount of people are massively crippled by their quirks, but I wouldn't say introduce that problem then try and fix it in 3 chapters. I put myself in front of the barreling Mack truck that is the MHA fandom. I'm an absolutely massive fan of My Hero Academia because Horikoshi doesn't want MHA to be the length of One Piece, but a bit more focus on Deku figuring out Fajin or Smoke or Float or Gear Shift would have been nice. I put myself in front of the barreling Mack truck that is the MHA fandom. Don't send me death threats, please. I really enjoy MHA.
My Hero Academia is left wing, Black Clover is right wing. That's how I've always looked at it. If you look at it very carefully, there's no black people in Black Clover. Where the fuck are the people of color? Where are the black people in Black Clover? While My Hero Academia, they'll give you a little bit of, you get some black characters, you get some very flamboyant, arguably, yo, homie, you know what I'm saying? It inspires a lot of the Bakugo and Deku crossover love shit or whatnot. So it gives you all of that stuff from the left side of things. Naruto, it kind of had it all. You could feel a level of escapism, but then also you're gonna have the Cloud Village, Killer Bee, you know, black characters. You did have the Fujoshis. Naruto and Sasuke, at times, it definitely was a little sus and whatnot. And we see clearly, at the very least, because of the way things are right now, My Hero won. The left won in that circumstance. One of the biggest things about My Hero Academia of All Might being killed has been averted. And I'm happy about it. People don't need to die for stories to be good, period. It's subverting the trope that previous shonen have had, and that's literally Horikoshi giving the middle finger to everybody that wanted the trope of the sensei passing, you know, in battle in order to pass forth the torch to the student. That's literally Horikoshi saying, no, I don't have to succumb to the tropes that shonen manga set forth. Bakugo being the one that saved him, I thought that was also subversive as well. Like, it feels like Horikoshi really wanted to just change the narrative of shonen manga. He forged a new path of 1, the sensei not dying, 2, the sensei being saved, but not being saved by the MC Deku. He was saved by Bakugo. And Horikoshi, on one of the most mainstream manga, just forged a new path without having to do death and without having to go the same direction of, again, his predecessor. So there's so many benefits to being subversive. Shout out to Horikoshi for being subversive. I hope for the remainder of his manga, Horikoshi keeps on being subversive and not following the path. Bravo! All Might didn't need to die. We didn't need for Deku to be the one to save All Might. Like, oh, shucks. Oh, gee, Willikers, Batman. Bakugo did it. And this chapter showed yet again that Horikoshi is daring to do things differently and not follow the staples of everything. The fact that we didn't go down that route, it just shows yet again Horikoshi is standing true to the story that he wants to write.
The love All For One had for his brother was simply one of possession. He viewed the first user as his thing, and so he kept him. Physically, Yoichi was weak, and mentally, he was essentially trapped as All For One's thing for years. This is for sure meant to parallel our own society, as so many people are exploited, overworked, and basically seen as a tool rather than human from higher ups. Whether it be the anime industry, a desk job, or even retail, a lot of people are just considered a pair of extra hands. It's a very real issue, and Horikoshi has excellently weaved it into the story.
There is a
absolutely no connection between those two things!
We then see a double-page spread showing the next few decades of All For One's life. The one little line here, having his face destroyed by All Might, which is happening just in a montage sequence. This is the epic grand fight that happened 6 or 7 years ago. Essentially the greatest battle that ever took place in the history of the My Hero world. Prime All Might versus Prime All For One. And, you know, as I've been talking about and mentioning it for years now, I always just wanted to see this fight play out in its entirety. However, we're never going to get that. And that's fine. I already kind of knew that that was the case. However, we are seeing at least 2 panels of it, which I am grateful for because it's better than nothing. You know, wish we got to see a little bit more, but it's fine.
But first, let's talk about the sponsor of this video.
During the Deku Vigilante arc, we were told that the series was ending. It felt like the series was going to be moving at supersonic speed. It felt like it was going to be rushing to get to that end. And that's exactly what happened. But even though it's being rushed towards its end, it's still really, really good. Even though it's being rushed, it's still managing to tie up all these important plot points that we've been invested in throughout the whole series. And even though that's a good thing, it feels like a lot of these endings are kind of half-baked. Because you see, when Aoyama was revealed as the traitor, it didn't come at an important time. It came randomly. No build-up, just bam, Aoyama is the traitor. This reveal was asked for, yes. This reveal was anticipated, yes. This reveal was built up, yes. But it didn't come at a good time. Now, did that kill the euphoria of the moment? No, absolutely not. Because at the end of the day, it was solved in a great way. It just came at a random time. It was wrapped up in a good way, absolutely, yes. And that's exactly what we wanted. The first war arc was built up through 2 complete sagas, and this one is built up in the same saga as that one. We just got done with the first war arc, and now we're being thrown into a second, more important, more vital war arc. It's kind of absurd to think about that we're already at the second war arc. A lot of our characters' developments were done off screen. Look at a lot of Class 1A, a lot of their growth was done off screen while Deku was off doing his vigilante stuff. I still have faith in this second war. You know why? Because I know Horikoshi is gonna hit it out of the park. He's done it time and time again. Even though he's being rushed, he's still managing to write a pretty good ending. Horikoshi was finally going to give us American heroes in the main series, and they were going to team up with Japan in order to take down Shigaraki and All For One. Man, Stars and Stripes was really cool, even though she might have been underutilized. What else are we going to see from the wider world of MHA? Absolutely nothing, because after Shigaraki packed up Stars and Stripes, every other country in the world packed up their bags and left town. If anything, the treatment of America in the final saga was the most disappointing thing to come from MHA. But hey, at least we got it. I really do enjoy the ending that we are getting right now. And I really do think that right now, My Hero Academia is one of the best series in Shonen Jump. We have to accept that this ending is being rushed, but this ending is also doing a damn good job at leaving the fans happy and satisfied. And that is undisputed.
Deku could hear everyone's voices call out to him. They all called out for Deku and the others to do their best. And with that, Deku's fist was finally delivered to the villain.
Unlike nothing I've ever read before.
Oh my goodness, the emotions in this one. I will miss this series tremendously. Deku has been the greatest hero to the greatest hero, All Might. And Horikoshi is one hell of a mangaka.
What really elevates this series above the usual fare of shonen works is how it manages to break the mold of what we've come to expect from the genre, and how it skillfully subverts our expectations.
I think anyone that is quick to write off My Hero Academia is just blinded by their overwhelming hatred of just how things may have turned out in these last few arcs. Spiraling out of control, things started feeling very off, and it didn't feel like the My Hero Academia I knew. Blinded by their overwhelming hatred, the fact that nobody of significance, besides like fodder or off-screen characters, die, it's just like, why? Blinded by their overwhelming hatred, there was a lot of issues within this arc. Horikoshi was going up and down with his decisions. Blinded by their overwhelming hatred, there was a lot of weird decisions that was put into this final arc with stakes and stuff. It did not feel like there was ever any lingering threat with a final villain. Blinded by their overwhelming hatred, he's just so inconsistent with some of his writing sometimes. It's like, you know, he doesn't know what to do. Blinded by their overwhelming hatred. There were so many things that was just wrapped up and kind of rushed. Horikoshi just wanted to wrap up the story. Just to get through it. Like the gentle stuff to, you know, the whole airy stuff. Blinded by their overwhelming hatred.
Throw the word faith.
Trust in Horikoshi.
But I have faith in Horikoshi.
I have a lot of faith in Horikoshi as a writer.
My Hero Academia is not very good when it comes to fights in the conventional sense. It lacks the choreography of Jujutsu Kaisen, the variety of Naruto, the multi-layered power system of One Piece, the mechanical depth of Hunter x Hunter. But even still, I am very proud of all these characters and the messages that Horikoshi has managed to convey. And on that front at least, this conclusion was very meaningful.
The message. Come on, Horikoshi, where is Deku's dad? The final war is over. We're into a new time skip, and still no dad reveal. Are you really going to leave us hanging without any sort of resolution on Hisashi Midoriya? Please, Hori, please. We've been waiting so long.
If something keeps happening in a show, it reaches a point where the audience accepts it as normal and stops questioning it. Shonen series are notorious for never punishing crimes and evil behavior in general. It hits extra hard when there is supposed to be a police force in the series that punishes criminals, so refusing to punish evil behavior in My Hero Academia, which is supposed to be about heroism but doesn't know the first thing about it, feels extra jarring. Bakugo was never punished for bullying children, Mineta was never punished for being a sexual molester, Deku was never punished for lying about how he got his superpowers, and Aoyama was never punished for spying for the villains. It doesn't matter if they meant well, or they were forced to do it, or they stopped doing it. The point is they were committing crimes, and they were never punished for it, despite being in an academy that is all about following the rules. And it's not like nobody else gets punished in that show, since there are prisons filled with people who weren't following the rules. And I am not saying school kids should be in prison for lying or for being bullies. What I mean is that they got zero punishment for their criminal activity. Not even a single day of detention. When there are no repercussions for committing crimes, then there is no gravity when the characters get redemption. Aoyama may have been pushed to be a spy, but he still threatened the lives of thousands of people with his actions. His parents may have been threatened to play along, but they weren't forced to make a deal with criminals. They did it willingly, and were getting the benefits for 15 years. And despite that, there were zero repercussions. It's just Aoyama feeling sorry about it, big fucking deal. He could have no remorse and it would make no difference, since there are no stakes. I mean, he was getting all the benefits of having superpowers for 15 years. It was fine while all that was happening, wasn't it? And now all of that don't matter all of a sudden. That is the problem with this show and most shonen in general. Without the fear of actual punishment, redemption means nothing because there are no stakes. Just because you are used to never seeing punishment doesn't make it okay, especially in a show that is all about following the rules and being heroic. That is why this anime was a failure since day one.
We might be getting into first year introductions, which is really exciting because, you know, this means that there's a chance for a sequel series to this. Like, Horikoshi doesn't even necessarily have to, like, illustrate it or anything. It seems like he's pretty much done with that, but at least he can just write it or give notes, and then somebody else can just, you know, draw it for him.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
So the episode with the fake death of Bakugo happened, and YouTube filled with people pretending to be shocked. Most of them already know what's going to happen because they follow the manga, and most of the rest who don't follow it have lost interest in the show a long time ago. Therefore, this apparent death means nothing to them. It's just clickbait to fool people who have no idea about the show to check it out. But for the sake of discussion, let's assume these are their genuine feelings about a character they truly like. What is the proper reaction they should have on the next episode when Bakugo magically returns to life? Are they gonna be clapping hands? Are they gonna be shedding tears of joy? Or are they gonna be showing their faces, yelling angrily at the screen with how they were played like complete fools? Typical of Horikoshi shit, he doesn't know how to use any of his ideas properly, and drove most of his fanbase away, leaving only the queers who make cringe gay shit artwork and skits. If these YouTubers are real fans, they should be reacting the same way the manga readers did a year ago. Half of them should be raging at how they killed off the best character in the show, and the other half should be raging at how fast he got resurrected using a bullshit method, thus making the death scene completely meaningless in a single episode. Wanna bet almost none of them are gonna do that? They are just gonna be clapping hands next week because they are not real fans. The real fans know what happened in the manga and did not like it at all. They wouldn't give a shit about this thing in the anime. Even if most of them are anime onlys, they are still not real fans, because if they were, they would have lost all interest a long time ago, since Horikoshi can't do anything right with his plot ideas. These people are parasites who wanna trick you into watching their video and giving them views just because they photograph themselves looking all shocked or crying on the thumbnail. This is why everything nowadays is fake, including the most emotional scenes. Don't trust these hypocrites. The only people who still care about the show are just making cringe TikTok videos about gay shit.
You better put on your hazmat suits, everyone. Next week is going to be quite the dumpster fire in the My Hero Academia community. There is always a potential possibility. This is the part of a series, a part of any manga, where it leads into a lot of toxicity. There is always a potential possibility. Look at the Bleach community to the Naruto community. My Hero Academia has had a lot of toxicity around pairings and ships. There is always a potential possibility. Shipping Deku with All Might, people shipping Deku with Bakugo, Bakugo with Ochiko, Tsuyu and Ochiko together, you get the point. There is always a potential possibility. The My Hero Academia community that mainly only cares about the pairings and the romance, etc., and they completely disregard everything else. There is always a potential possibility. Yeah, we're about to have a very radioactive, conversation next week. It is going to be absolutely toxic. It's not going to be the whole themes of heroism and villains and stuff, and the, defeating Shigaraki and dealing with all that, or Bakugo, coming back, etc. No, that is not going to be what breaks the camel's back. What's going to break the camel's back for a lot of people is the conclusion of these romance pairs, when that's never truly been the main focus of the story to begin with. But obviously it's important, though, too, to be fair, when Horikoshi has obviously set this up for a very long time. There is always a potential possibility. People are really trying to be better than what they once were, and trying to help out heroes and be heroes without needing a hero's license. You don't necessarily need to beat the crap out of a villain to say you're a hero. Heroes come in many shapes and forms. You have heroes that are firefighters, police officers, heroes that are old women that just grab the hand of a child that's scared and frightened. If a world is to be better, then everybody needs to step up to the plate and do their equal part of helping each other, instead of just putting all the pressure on the greats, aka the best heroes, and nothing else. Fight for your ideal society, a society that is welcoming and tries to help those in need, and even those that might not be physically weak could sit and give a lending hand to those that are in desperate need. It's a really great message, and overall, I respect what Horikoshi did here. It kind of goes back to everything that represents My Hero Academia, the core themes and everything that Izuku at the very least has been fighting for a very long time. He achieved it. It's really sad that most of the discussion on My Hero isn't necessarily on this development, but it's more or less focused on the pairings. They're not really going to be focusing on what this granny did to stop a new Shigaraki or anything like that. They're not going to talk about Hawks' ideal life or society that he wants as well. Nobody's really going to be talking about that much.
This is the final chapter of My Hero Academia. It's a pretty interesting feeling. We never find out if any of the students get together. Namely, Izuku and Uraraka, nothing is really made of anything. It's interesting. Also, we don't see Izuku's dad. That's right, we go the entire series with never seeing Izuku's dad once, which is fascinating. All Might's eyes are white again, which is really interesting. This whole ending, it still felt rushed. There's so much more that could have been shown, so many more resolutions, and just extra character time together. It's far from over. What about even the quirk singularity? Hasn't been resolved at all. But aside from that, I thought the ending was fine. It wasn't a bad ending. I wasn't really expecting much. So it's, it is what it is.
It's taken me a few days to really just process in my head that My Hero Academia is truly over. I love everything about what this chapter represents. It's beautiful. I love the messaging here. I love the symbolic nature of it. Horikoshi didn't even address the relationships at all. He knew deep down if he confirmed anything, he would get just sent so much hate mail. And I feel like him leaving it vague, even if people might call him a coward for it, I think that it's probably maybe for the best. Hero gear for Izuku to be able to participate on the front lines and actually be a field hero even without a quirk. It's a very inspirational moment because it basically showcases even if you are powerless and don't have a quirk, you could still be a hero on the front lines. It's a really fitting message that Izuku gets to go back to living his dream once again, and I love everything that Horikoshi did with this final chapter. I don't think that there was really any better way to use this final chapter. The only thing that would come to mind if we had to add anything, is that if the chapter was 40 to 60 pages long.
So, My Hero Academia's final chapter has just come out, concluding one of the greatest shonen series of all time. Majority of the reception for this chapter has been negative. It is nowhere close to as bad as people are making it out to be. I think that this is a great ending. The biggest complaint I've been seeing is that Deku never achieved his dream. Deku's dream was to become the world's greatest hero, and instead, he ended up being a teacher working a 9-to-5. Deku achieved his dream. People mix up Deku being the #1 hero with Deku being the greatest hero. You do not need to be the #1 hero in order to be the greatest hero.
This fanboy doesn't want to admit that Deku was not behaving as a hero. Without powers, he got a regular job, and that was the end of it. In the beginning of the story, he was told to give up on being a hero and to instead get a regular job. He refused. He only wanted to be a hero, because being a hero was better than getting a job. This is now contradicted by how he has a regular job and does nothing heroic until he is given more powers. If everyone can be a hero regardless of his job, it is immediately contradicted by all his schoolmates all having powers, all being heroes, and all being famous. It's these contradictions that nobody liked.
Another complaint I've been seeing is that Deku shouldn't have lost One For All. Ever since we got introduced to One For All, we knew that at some point Deku would lose it. So we knew that this was going to be Deku's fate at one point or another. I don't get why people are surprised that Deku ended up losing it.
Because he lost the power very fast. All Might had it for decades and did endless heroics with it. Deku lost it in less than a year and he immediately became a wage slave. Also, he got the power in the beginning of the story by just crying a lot. He did nothing besides nagging about it, and with it he became the greatest hero. This was a huge reward with no effort. Then at the end of the story, he saves the world by going into a fight with powerful villains, something that took a lot of effort. What was his reward for actually putting effort? Becoming a wage slave, therefore it is a big deal.
Deku's body just moves before he can even think, because he has the mentality and the heart of a hero, despite the fact that he's quirkless. And him still being a hero at the end, while being quirkless, just solidifies his character. It shows you that One For All wasn't everything that Deku had.
Yes, it was. The only period of his life that mattered was when he got the most broken power with no effort. When he was supposed to be rewarded again for putting some effort, all he got was a regular job. Imagine how terrible that feels in what is essentially a power fantasy for teenagers. The message was, complain all day and get privileges, and never actually put any effort because you will get nothing at the end.
The last major complaint I've been hearing is that Deku's father was never revealed. What in the story would have changed if we got that revelation? Deku's origins, his parents, his bloodline was never important to his character. People are just misunderstanding the ending and overall just misunderstanding the entire story of My Hero Academia and then labeling this ending as horrible.
No, fanboy, that is not what happened. Horikoshi promised to reveal him before the ending of the series, and he didn't. When you promise to do something and you don't, why do you find it hard to accept people won't be pleased? By extension, the epilogue was garbage. It didn't fulfill any of the promises, and therefore nobody was pleased with it. Horikoshi promised he would kill All Might. He would have Float Girl being a dynamic female character, not existing as a platonic girlfriend. He promised to reward Deku with something other than a slave wage. None of that happened, and people were expectedly pissed off. Why do you find it so hard to accept this simple fact? Because you are a blinded fanboy who reflects all criticism by saying stuff like, "It makes a lot of money, so who cares?"
Everyone hates the new My Hero chapter, and that's exactly what Horikoshi intended. Top tier McDonald's memes. The fact that so many people dislike this chapter actually proves that it's the perfect ending to My Hero Academia. Top tier McDonald's memes. It naturally gives you the impression that Deku would become the single best hero in the story. And with that expectation, a lot of people were hoping that in the final chapter, you would get to see Deku as the single greatest hero. Obviously, things didn't quite turn out that way. He loses One for All and becomes a teacher while everyone else becomes pro-heroes and kinda leaves him behind. I think Horikoshi planned things out this way from day one. Top tier McDonald's memes. This ending does a great job of executing on the story's central themes and embodying the messages Horikoshi is trying to get across to readers. Top tier McDonald's memes. Why I like this ending so much is because it takes the time to address all of the flaws in the old system, lay out all the proposals that were made throughout the story, and shows readers what those would actually look like in practice. Top tier McDonald's memes. It pretty much spells out in black and white, hey, how we viewed things before was wrong, this is how we need to look at these problems now. Top tier McDonald's memes. And this is why I also love how Deku is handled, because we expect to see Deku as the top hero, but then everyone else becomes amazing pro-heroes and he's just a teacher. Except, this is exactly what Horikoshi wanted to do. Top tier McDonald's memes. With Deku, people are inspired to take action and not just watch from the sidelines. Top tier McDonald's memes. He inspires civilians to take action in their own lives and reach out to those in need. Top tier McDonald's memes. Chapter 430 is the perfect ending to My Hero because it takes that message, the idea that we can't rely on any one person and we all need to be heroes in our own ways, and shows us exactly what that looks like. Top tier McDonald's memes. Not only does Horikoshi build a solid foundation for this theme in the beginning, but he succeeds in taking it to its final logical conclusion. Top tier McDonald's memes. It's because people are upset that Deku didn't become the single best hero that we know Horikoshi accomplished everything he set out to. Top tier McDonald's memes. It's the perfect ending for this manga, and despite what everyone else may say, My Hero Academia will always be one of my favorite stories. Top tier McDonald's memes.
If you check online, you will see almost everyone shitting on the terrible ending of My Hero Academia. There are still a few who defend it, and their number one justification is that nobody knows how to read. The ending was perfect and you'll lack reading comprehension skills. Because My Hero Academia is a complex, multi-layered, symbolic and metaphorical series that only a fraction of the people it was made for can possibly understand it. It's not a cookie-cutter, crowd-pleasing shonen, it's a very niche manga made to be enjoyed by a tiny number of specially selective intellectuals. As a result, everywhere you see, people are creating topics that explain in detail what they didn't like about the ending. I am talking about entire essays with carefully articulated lists of problems. If the defenders had kept their mouths shut, this would have never happened. The more they accuse people of lacking reading comprehension skills, the more they motivate them to write more, and the more they spread those reasons to people who have not checked the show yet. So yes, the more the defenders insist you are stupid, the more they expose they are the ones who are stupid. This, by the way, is not something that only happened with My Hero Academia. Most endings of most shows have their defenders. Remember the coping with Attack on Titan and what everyone was saying about those that didn't like it? Here's the echo chamber in a nutshell.
there were a ton of people that were extremely dissatisfied with the way that it wrapped up in the manga. Was the community just smoking on stupid juice or something? It's a good, satisfying conclusion.
Therefore, no, it's not something new. It's just the most recent example of people who lack reading comprehension skills, accusing others of lacking reading comprehension skills, and having the vestiges of whatever people might have still liked about the show completely destroyed. And that's why the greatest enemies of any show are always its own fanboys.
It's just peak. It's just straight up peak. I don't see why so many people are pissed or think that it's bad writing that he had to lose his power to obtain his ultimate goal. When you look at other manga animes like Full Metal Alchemist, where Edward has to give up alchemy to achieve his goal, people say that that's incredible, it's awesome. And in a lot of ways, it's the same way. Both Edward Elric and Izuku Midoriya had to give up the very thing that allowed them to chase their goal in order to ultimately obtain it. But one of these characters is treated entirely different than the other. Sounds like a reading comprehension problem to me, I'm not gonna lie, because this shit was fucking best manga ever.
I haven't been affected by fandom brain rot, which has led to me being in an interesting position when discussing the ending of My Hero Academia. So I've not only been able to get a third-person perspective of the opinions of die-hard My Hero Academia fans on the ending, but also the idiots who haven't paid attention to My Hero Academia for hundreds of chapters. Oh, Deku's gonna get strong, he's gonna power up, and he's gonna prove all these people wrong. He's gonna become the top hero and everyone's gonna have to look up to him. And I think this happens to like every shonen manga, to be honest. I call it the Naruto effect. People always want every single shonen MC to have the Naruto character arc, where they're an underdog, everyone looks down on them, but through hard work and determination they rise to the top and get the glory in the end. And that kind of a story is cool, it works for Naruto, but it's not in line with who Deku is as a character and the messaging of My Hero Academia as a series. At the core of My Hero Academia, there's the idea of being selfless and helping your fellow humans simply for that fact, because they are human. And Deku is the embodiment of this to the core. Stain's whole point was that people are becoming heroes for the wrong reason. Everybody wants to be a hero to be idolized or be rich. Nobody's doing it for the love of the game no more, man. That's why Deku becoming a teacher is such a great development to me. He realizes that even without having a quirk, even without being a hero, he can still have a positive effect on society. I just think a major issue that people have with the ending is it doesn't feel satisfying, which I can understand from the perspective of a casual reader. But I think when you really look at the message of the ending of My Hero Academia and what it's trying to convey, is actually really beautiful. There are so many fundamental misunderstandings and misconceptions about the story that have just poisoned people's brain from the root. Like from the beginning of the series, so many people have misinterpreted what the message of My Hero Academia is. And I have a post here that exemplifies all the issues with how people have consumed My Hero Academia. The problem of the ending is how Deku gave up on being a hero until his friends gave him a handout. Even when Deku had zero shot of being a hero, he was still studying heroes and learning fighting techniques, which is the main reason why Deku is able to get one for all, get into UA, and learn his quirk way faster than anybody else. This too is a power you've earned fair and square. Every single person that's chipped in to give him this suit isn't just giving it to him to be nice to the nigga. They're not doing it for fucking charity. They're doing it because Deku is an important person to them that has had a major positive effect on them and the world, and they're paying him back. And I've seen this everywhere, this sentiment that Deku being a teacher means that he got complacent and gave up on being a hero. I think that's just a weird sentiment in general, as if being a teacher is supposed to be something that's beneath Deku. If anything, his job as a teacher will have an equal effect on society, even if it's less glamorous. In a general sense and an overarching sense, I think it nailed the landing.
I have a chip on my shoulder because I have to read the opinions of the illiterate. Anyone calling it, what are these mid? And these morons, they're all teen. I know they're like either teenagers or idiots in their early 20s. Just jackasses who probably don't know how to read or write. I already said illiterate, so now I'm just being redundant. I don't understand what people aren't getting about it. I don't even know how to tell you how wrong you are. And then also how you don't understand how like everything that he is and has contributed to his friends and to society led up to him becoming a hero again. I don't understand what y'all aren't getting. Shit, I'm like a day off, so I can't even remember what type of shit I was on when I wrote half of this. I'm pretty sure I'm talking about y'all. Y'all are stupid if you think that manga ending was just... I don't know. I don't think y'all know how to... Again, I don't think y'all know how to read. It's the story of how he became the greatest hero of all time. Like, oh, it's a lie. You did all that just to work at McDonald's. Once again, he's a fucking teacher. You're fucking stupid. Fucking dipshits. Complaining about him being quirkless is just fucking stupid when you understand why he gave it up. I wish social media had like an age filter where I wouldn't have to see the opinions of anyone under the age of 27. Because y'all are fucking just graduate high school, even though most of you are fucking illiterate dropouts. Graduate from high school and then see how that goes. You can become a hero if you're quirkless and also have rich friends and know the greatest hero of all time. I don't think he knows how to read. Because again, once again, you motherfucker can't read or write because all of that didn't just drop out of the fucking sky for him. He earned those connections based purely on the kind of person he is. I think that's it. You're just fucking stupid.
I was scrolling the My Hero Academia Reddit to see what the dying fanbase is talking about and found this meme. It comes down to people only noticing Mineta being a pervert and not him caring about his friends or being smart. The creator got a lot of upvotes because memes with waifus always get upvoted, regardless of if people agree. In the comments, the guy was shredded to pieces for defending a predator, essentially. If Endeavor got shredded for being a bad husband and father, Mineta should have never managed to be a hero to begin with. But hey, then again, this show is not about heroism, so who gives a shit? I am not gonna say more of what I think about it, I am just going to read to you the best replies on the meme. Damn near everyone in Class 1A is supportive of their friends. Real supportive friends don't sexually harass their friends. His supportive of his friends thing is the bare minimum in a friendship. Smart, supportive, most likely to be cut by Chris Hansen. I just can't figure out why people don't like him. Oh, you didn't tell me he was kinda smart. This makes up for all those times he sexually harassed his classmates. This is like saying, but the priest did so much for the community after they caught him with kids. Lol, sometimes he even uses his smarts to sexually harass his classmates. This meme didn't make me stop hating him? Whoa! I kinda hate him more now! Did you know that Hitler loved dogs? What a good guy. Maybe if 90% of his screen time wasn't spent on him being a sex pest, then people would remember him for more than just being a sex pest? Shrug. Why is everyone focusing on the fact that John is a rapist? He was a real bright bloke and had lots of friends. I feel like being a serial sexual predator invalidates any and all other redeeming qualities, but hey, that's just me. That's just your opinion, man. Here's another guy who attempts to correct the anime community by stating the good old "you don't know how to read," and then he proceeds to prove he doesn't know how to read. How original, unlike anything we've seen before, showing off by projecting your inefficiencies onto others. It's like you're a gay and you spend your life making fun of other gays. Let's see how he tries to correct anyone only to fall on his face. He says Deku's friends did not abandon him since it's stated, when you become an adult, you're not gonna have that much free time to hang around with your friends. First of all, this was introduced in the last chapter, so by default people are not gonna like it, since it had no build-up and also had no room to be developed. It's also told you it's not shown, which is the easiest way to make headcanons, just so you can imagine what you're not shown. This fanboy imagines this realistic scene where everyone has a job, a thing that happens to most people once they become adults, and thus it makes sense why they can't find the time to meet. Not only it's speculation, since we don't see it, it's just an assumption that uses real life instead of in-story images to fill the blanks. So by default, it becomes outright wrong. In the very same chapter, we are also told, not shown, that there aren't many villains around anymore and thus heroes have a lot less work to do, which means they have far more free time. And yet they refuse to see Deku as if they are actively avoiding him. Now you can easily assume they are not avoiding him because we don't see it, since Horikoshi didn't bother to show it, he just mentioned it in a hurry a few pages before the ending, and thus all you can do is make assumptions. But when your evidence is based on an assumption that is trying to correct another assumption, then you're not actually proving anyone wrong, much less proving they don't know how to read. It's just an assumption, correcting another assumption, both of which happened in the last chapter, because Horikoshi didn't show shit, he just introduced a bunch of stuff and wrapped up everything through narration in the last pages. It's bad writing either way, since it doesn't show shit and left nobody satisfied. Then the fanboy tries to defend Deku by saying he did get recognition for everything he did, as narrated, not shown, on this panel. Now this defense is easy to shoot down, since unlike the previous defense, it's not based on an assumption. We clearly see in the same chapter that Deku is a nobody teacher, working in the very Hero Academy that he graduated from, and yet nobody knows he exists. How did he get recognition when nobody remembers him in the very same heroic academy from where he became a hero? Not only that, it also shows everyone else becoming more popular than him, despite doing a lot less, since there are no more powerful villains to save the world from. So where is this recognition you're talking about? It is stated, but what is shown contradicts that. It's as if Deku is actively lying to the reader. That, or Horikoshi is such an awful writer, he constantly contradicts everything he is writing about. You know, a story about heroism where nobody's a hero. The fanboy's third offense is an extension of the first excuse. His friends care about him since they bought him a super costume. If they didn't care, they wouldn't have bought it. So, same problem. It is not shown, it is told. We don't see them actively caring about him, we are only told they are. And just like before, this costume thing is introduced and resolved in a couple of pages. No build-up, no room to develop it, bad writing. It also doesn't make any sense when they say Bakugo did most of the paying when there are classmates who were millionaires before even graduating. And why stop there? Why did only his classmates have to pay for the suit? Why didn't they have a worldwide crowdfunding where they ask people to pay a few bucks so they can have the supposed greatest hero returning to action? If Deku got the recognition he claims, he would get $1 billion in a week. It would also be an easy way to show the reader that the world cares about Deku, and yet nobody knows him. The only people who still remember him are his schoolmates, and even they never pay him a visit although they have free time, nor they show up to visually show they care about him. Thus this in here is bad writing that doesn't excuse shit. The last defense of the fanboy is that Ochako didn't dump Deku after spending the whole show being in love with him. He tries to make it seem like she cares about him since she still paid for the costume, which we didn't see, it's all implied, and her opinion of people doesn't change based on their superpowers. Okay, then why are they not married? You can't spend the whole show in being in love with someone and then nothing comes out of it. Why would people not be disappointed that this plot thread went nowhere? She doesn't even talk to him in the entire finale. Nobody talks to him. He doesn't even have any groupies, the bare minimum of any esteemed personality. The entire world doesn't know he exists. You can't say you care when you never show it, never pay a visit, and don't even remember him. Do you see the problem, you stupid fanboy who thinks only you know how to read? The story was complete bullshit since the very beginning, and yet you still defend it by calling it some subversive masterpiece that it's too deep for anyone but you to understand it. Stop mocking people for the deficiencies you have. Touch grass and read actually good stories. Now that My Hero Academia has ended, I checked the early reviews to see why did so many people like it at first, and this is what I found. My Hero Academia, the next generation of great shonens. You feel its potential right from the start, a potential not yet exploited. 8 out of 10. What? This manga has a lot of potential to be on par with the big three. Oh, it has potential. It's not actually good, it has potential. In fact, it could be better. It might even be the next Hunter x Hunter. Oh yes, because that is a shonen that is so much better than the big three. Incomplete. One chapter out every 3 years. Everybody's stuck on a boat doing absolutely nothing of interest. For how long? This is your bar? I'd recommend reading it or checking it out if you're a fan of Naruto and need something to fill that hole. Aha! So you're saying if Naruto hadn't ended, you wouldn't give it a chance. You were reading it just because Naruto ended and needed something to fill that hole. Or if you just want a fun shonen to read, and something that doesn't require a nice amount of brain processing full of symbolism and dark disturbing imagery. Yes, because nobody ever thought this manga, nobody made all those social critiques, nobody had all this symbolism nonsense, and surely, when Shigaraki was transforming, it was so wholesome, it wasn't disturbing imagery. What is this guy talking about? What seems to be the next big thing in Boku no Hero Academia certainly has the potential to do so. It has the potential, it isn't so. The characters all remind me of the Konoha 11 from Naruto, and that's why you read it, right? Naruto ended and you needed something to fill the void. Each one of them has their own special abilities and personalities. It's refreshing. What's refreshing? Characters having abilities and personalities? What's so refreshing about that? People were hyping this up to be the next Naruto, and that's why you read it. Naruto ended and you needed something to fill the void. This was somewhat different from the usual shonen manga, unlike anything we've seen before. The main character is very smart and uses his intelligence a lot in battle, which is rare in shonen. He doesn't just go into battle swinging, he always has a plan. Bullshit! When did he ever use his brains in battle? He was just Texas smashing everyone. And this keeps going on with every other positive review. They were all reading it because Naruto ended and needed something to fill the void, and they saw this one and had a lot of potential, and that's pretty much it. That's the only reason My Hero Academia was so popular. Thanks, Naruto, and praise potential.
People are absolutely molding and shocked. A Japanese character, a Japanese person in a Japanese anime looks Japanese. It has the skin tone of a Japanese person.
Piccolo's the black character. Clearly.
Basically, the individual brought the question that Mina is apparently canonically black.
Piccolo's story is literally the journey of the black man.
You know, a lot of people got extremely upset, molding about the fact that Mina apparently isn't black.
The black man's journey.
Who would have thought a Japanese character within a Japanese anime would look Japanese? Holy crap, guys, this is revolutionary. I cannot believe this.
That is literally Piccolo's story.
And then people going out of their way to basically call Studio Bones and Horikoshi racist and all that. And I'm like, how's Horikoshi racist when this is his character, his story, and he's even clarified, like, you know, her skin. And then even the panel showcases this. I'm just like, how can he be racist?
Obviously, because of the slave trade and all that, black people lost their identity.
Despite My Hero Academia being over, the community can still showcase just how toxic it can be.
Him going to Namek is like, you know, going back to Africa.
I cannot believe just how crazy these discussions are and how much traction they get. Like, millions of views. Actually, millions.
It's literally the journey of the black man, and again, I would say even in America.
We are cooked, man. We are so cooked. 8 years ago, I was anti-gatekeeping. I did not like to gatekeep. I did not like anime and manga being gatekept from people. But after just seeing this continuous spiral of just toxicity, negativity, and just crazy, mentally unwell statements from people that leak all over the internet, I really wish we would have gatekept more. I wish I would have helped more, because this is wild, man, and it's never gonna recover. It won't. Anime is too popular now. It's becoming a global phenomenon, and it's gonna just get more and more toxic.
I can't remember when I've had a more pleasant day.
As we all knew would happen, the extended My Hero Academia ending has an official pairing which didn't sit well with the queers. Deku is officially paired with Uraraka, making all the homosexuals that followed this trash fire to the end, and that would be 90% of the entire fanbase, to rage at how it wasn't Bakugo. Just like they decided Piccolo and Mina are black and Daima fixes Dragon Ball by being non-binary representation, the fandom just decided that Deku is gay for the bully that was tormenting him for years in broad daylight. What a healthy relationship that is truly worth defending over misogyny! I mean, a man falling in love with a woman? That's misogyny! You don't hate women only when you wanna be butt-fucked by the man who was torturing you for years! As a result, My Hero Academia is now being banned from schools since this manga about heroes has nothing to do with heroes, despite the word being in the title. It has been labeled as inappropriate for children, since it's full of queer baiting, nudity, sexualization of minors, and toxic relationships. Such a shame to see public schools being so full of misogyny, instead of accepting the vision of the creator exactly as the queers fool themselves to think it is. Misogyny! Why wasn't Deku butt-fucked by Bakugo?
Look at that stunning growth, considering how towards the end of the series it was starting to take a little bit of a drop, and that final volume came out and boom! What a huge win for My Hero Academia. The haters were well and truly wrong about this. When the final chapter came out initially, there was so much backlash towards what happened in that final chapter. Many My Hero Academia fans were not happy at all. From what I read, I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. Now, I don't know the context which led towards what happened in the final chapter, but for what I saw, I was fine with it. But mate, the way people were talking about the downfall of My Hero Academia, it has the worst manga ending of all time, blah blah blah. But then, Horikoshi released the actual final volume manga with an epilogue chapter in, and those pages completely transformed the way people thought about the ending. The epilogue chapter made people want to go out and buy it. There was so much talk online about what happened in that epilogue. Those extra pages truly changed the minds of some haters, although people still thought that it was bad and it was going to flop in sales. But look where we are now, guys. Look where we are right now. There really isn't a need to argue with anybody over the success of the final volume. The results speak for themselves, and to argue against clear evidence is the equivalent of indulging in foolishness.
You know, a lot of people have coined My Hero Academia as one of the most toxic anime and manga communities. It is a really toxic fandom that continuously disrespects and attacks its own creator of the series that they like to read, and it is ridiculous. You have people going out of their way and even fixing, editing Horikoshi's art, saying they know his characters better, saying they know how the art should be. This drawing of Mirko from My Hero Academia, if you notice, there's a certain lack of attire, so to speak, on the character. I don't know why a lot of people are not talking about that one. Horikoshi, if you want, please open up a, I'm just gonna say, an NSFW type account on social media. I would love it. I would follow it instantly. I'm not joking. Please do so, because, like, I don't know why not a lot more people are talking about this. It's actually crazy, and it's just, so many people are unwell, mentally unstable, and live in Delulu land. It's astounding. Like, I just, it's always been on full display, just seeing just how crazy people can be. Please open up a, I'm just gonna say, an NSFW type account. I am not a big fan of just, like, a lot of the newcomers into the anime community as of late. They are people that more or less don't want to conform or actually join the community to enjoy the culture, enjoy anime and manga. They more or less want the culture itself to bend the knee and warp itself into what their ideals are instead of actually what it always was. Please open up a, I'm just gonna say, an NSFW type account. If you want to edit something, fine. Just don't do it with malicious intent. It's clear that a lot of people's intentions are malicious. I just want to make sure that is very front and center for people don't twist my words. It's obvious what's going on here. Please open up a, I'm just gonna say, an NSFW type account. You see a lot more just outright heinous acts from people that legitimately cannot separate reality from fiction, but also think they know more than the very creator themselves. Please open up a, I'm just gonna say, an NSFW type account. I don't know how anyone in their right mind can do something like that and think that they're genuinely a fan, not just of My Hero Academia, but just of anime and manga in general. It is just super disrespectful to the culture. It's super disrespectful to artists. It's super disrespectful to anyone involved, honestly. It's just, be better. That's really the main case in point. Please open up a, I'm just gonna say, an NSFW type account. It's gross. It's just, dude, it's gross, man. I really can't stand these type of people. Please open up a, I'm just gonna say, an NSFW type account. Anyone that legitimately is okay with the behavior that's happened with Horikoshi, feel free to just leave and never return. That's all I'm gonna say, because this is not okay. You don't do this to creators. Please open up a, I'm just gonna say, an NSFW type account.
This is very smart of Studio Bones to debut the anime of the Vigilante spinoff before the final season of My Hero, the main story, goes off air, because this gives an opportunity for fans to jump into this world and not feel like, oh, well, you know, the main story's already over and now they're trying to get us into something else. Fans will probably be a little bit more susceptible to continuing following this, despite My Hero Academia's main anime finishing up this fall. And it's just really a good time to be a My Hero fan, despite the fact that the original manga came to an end. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to.
According to this Schilling article, Vigilantes instantly became the best prequel anime of all times, because Gundam The Origin does not exist. This season has a lot of hyped up titles, which is like any other season, so saying that means nothing, and Vigilantes is the strongest. If you pretend Windbreaker and Fire Force do not exist, it doesn't only benefit from being a prequel to My Hero Academia, which is the only thing that made it somewhat relevant, therefore it does, but it's also a strong watch for any anime fan, which is why nobody talks about it nor makes pretentious videos as they did with Solo Leveling. It does three things particularly well. It doesn't have plot armor, which is why everyone constantly teleports whenever a character has to be saved for plot reasons. It's an excellent underdog story, which is why the protagonist has a zero potential and is never mentioned in My Hero Academia, and is exploring a familiar setting with fresh eyes, although nobody gives a shit about the setting after Horikoshi completely fucked it up with his awful handling. Unlike Deku and his classmates, the Vigilantes are not afraid to operate outside the law and at their own risk, because Deku never operated outside the law and never took any risks. Are we going to pretend his short-lived Dark Deku phase wasn't the best part of the manga? Vigilantes explores what happens when people use their superpowers when they are not licensed heroes, and it does it in such a way that feels like a retcon, since there are zero Vigilantes in My Hero Academia. Deku never thinks about becoming one because they don't exist. If you use your powers without a license, you are a villain and you get arrested. But the article doesn't describe it like that. It calls it validating and empowering to do whatever you want by breaking the law. It's the same thing with Windbreaker, which is currently several times more popular than Vigilantes. What a great moral message for the teenage audience. Now that's what modern anime are all about. Nobody holds you accountable if things go out of control. Which is a lie, since in My Hero Academia, you are held accountable when you break the law and you are taken to prison. There is tension regarding the Vigilantes being able to survive on their own. No, there isn't. They constantly get into fights, they constantly get injured, and then they casually go back to their daily lives. They never have money issues, and nobody ever asks how they got their injuries. And the last bullshit statement is that the prequel can't kill any characters who are present in My Hero Academia, but is free to do that with characters of Vigilantes, therefore there are still stakes. Which is the exact same thing you could say about the cast of My Hero Academia while the story was still ongoing. You didn't know the outcome, therefore any of them could die. Now here is the same thing, only half of them are plot armored from the get-go, therefore there is far less tension. And that is why you should really trust corporate journalists who write bullshit using AI.
My Hero Academia Vigilantes. Listen, I have read and completed this manga. I was really, and I mean really, looking forward to this anime. I think mostly because I forgot a lot of things about the manga. And some things when you're reading a manga are just easier to ignore than when you're watching an anime. There are two underaged characters, and they are both high school aged girls. And one of them is literally a walking upskirt joke, as her quirk allows for her to pop around in high places wearing a mini skirt, who also, mind you, the show has an obsession with her ass, bringing it up literally every chance they have to talk about it. And the second underage girl is kind of our main antagonist, who for some reason, even though it's not essential to the plot at all, is semi-regularly shown going on dates with full-grown men. All of the female presence in this show has to be teenage girls. Scantily clad teenage girls. Listen, I'm not gonna sit here and defend Creati's character design or say that any of the scantily clad teenage characters in MHA needed to be scantily clad. But at least it was a story about high schoolers. This is a story about vigilantes that can be any age. And yet the age we consistently choose with the girls in anime is a resounding 14. To me, this universe is a time capsule to 2016, 2017. And nowadays it feels outdated, and it's just not nearly as compelling to me.
In case some of you don't get it, he was a pervert a decade ago who didn't mind the age of the characters, and he was very open about it. Now that he wants to virtue signal because it's June, he backpedals in any way he can so he won't offend his progressive sponsors. Oh, I somehow didn't notice that when I was reading it. It's okay to sexualize them if there is a high school, but not out in the streets. And it was a decade ago, so the new gold standard for anime is now outdated. Please don't cancel me, leftists. I love queers. Look how much I am virtual signaling because it's June. This is what the My Hero Academia fandom has become. Everyone is gay, everyone is black, everyone is fucking everyone else, but it's okay because it was a decade ago and it had a high school.